and welcome. It's a very weird setup here. You're not expecting to see 4 people sitting on a couch talking, but believe it or not, we've actually all been talking for the last 4 months or so in secret, because we decided randomly that we would do a podcast together. And now this is episode 1, because we're all in LA for the Summer Games Fest, and we thought this is the perfect opportunity to do episode 1. This will be the only one that happens on a couch like this. Yeah. Otherwise, it's going to be a Zoom call or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, this is it. And I'm super excited because this has been a project that we've been, working on in secret and loving while we've been doing it. It's called the Friends Per Second Podcast. Who came up with that name, by the way?
It was
this one right here. And it's just something that is alive now, which I can't believe. But like, let's do introductions first, because obviously this is appearing on the Skill Up channel for now, but it's not a Skill Up podcast, by the way. Like, it's the Friends Per Second Podcast. It's all of us, but it just happens to appear on the Skill Up channel. Plus, it's also going to appear on podcast platforms. So if you prefer to get your podcast that way, it's going to be on all of them. So if you go and search Friends Per Second, you're going to be able to get it. We're going to be on like Twitter and all the like. We're going to be on TikTok, believe it or not. That's right.
Wait, we are?
Yes, we are.
I didn't
We
know
are
that.
doing a TikTok account, so get ready for that, right?
I was just scrolling through my For You page and I saw Ralph pop up and I was like, this is a man who's now gone all in on TikTok.
Ralph is plugged in.
I haven't even told my channel that I'm on TikTok at this point, so this is like a
Surprise.
reveal. That's right.
TikTok reveal.
So we're going to be everywhere, and the plan is essentially to do a fortnightly podcast. That means every 2 weeks, by the way, for our American friends out there.
It was so hard. I was like, fortnight. What?
Right. But we have all known each other in various ways for a little while, and we were thinking about who we wanted to do this with, because I was chatting with Jake initially, and but let's do the introductions first. Okay, let me introduce you to Jake Baldino. Okay, firstly, because Jake is literally one of my favorite people in all of video games. He is the front man for Game Ranks. He does the Before You Buy videos, which I actually think they are the most watched reviews on YouTube at this point.
No.
Yeah. Like, who does more? Who would does? No one. For real. Yeah, thank you very much. They're the most watched, highest, most watched videos on YouTube. They have that thumbnail with the thing, which is just iconic.
You hate it.
But Jake is such an awesome dude. So insightful, so amazing what he does. Just like so much positivity as well. And just someone I've really admired. The very first moment I ever saw Jake, I was like, I want to hang out with that dude, And we sort of chat a little bit. We met in London a few years back.
Yeah.
And
you're really tall. You're like, hello.
That's what everyone says when they meet me. I'm not that tall.
I was like,
like we hit it off. We stayed in touch. And so when I thought, well, hey, podcast would be cool, Jake was like the first person to reach out to. And incredible guy. And if you haven't subbed to his channels, actually he has his own channel now, Jake Baldino.
Thank you.
Not just Game Ranks. And just really awesome to be able to do this with you, man. So
thank you.
Thank
you for that.
That's Jake.
Seated next to me is Lucy James, who is a producer at GameSpot, and she's also on Giant Bomb, which is absolutely huge and incredible.
Massive.
And I've known Lucy for years, more as just like a fanboy of her work and the GameSpot team, really. Just as like a person who wanted to be a video person. So I just always liked and respected you for that. But also your incredible sense of humor, which I am the most excited about that with you being here. And that's really it.
That's very sweet. Oh no, so kind of you to say incredible sense of humor, because I'm just like, you're giving me carte blanche to just do terrible jokes.
Say the worst things. So let's do it, please. That's why you're here.
Thank you. Sat next to me, Gerard Khalil. You might know him as the Completionist, host on G4. Basically, when I was, even like kind of before I was in games, your stuff would just come up on YouTube, and I'd be like,
true.
what an amazing kind of brand, but like what an amazing thing to do. I love watching your videos because it's not just a review, it is a celebration of gaming. You don't just beat the games, you complete them. And it's like, that's what I love about being in the medium, and obviously talking all of us for so long, but it's like just being with people who love and care for games as much. And I think out of all of us, especially for me, I've always considered you just like one of the biggest gaming fans, and able to like, I'm in awe of all of you, because you're all very articulate and able to speak about and talk about how much you love games in such an enthusiastic and an infectious way. But you, all of you, I'm kind of excited. Like, I know I'm supposed to be just introducing Gerard, but I'm like, you're all just so great. But no, you know Gerard. natural.
For sure.
I feel so seen. Thank you. When we make our show, it's very much in our own bubble, and so we don't know.
True.
We never know what anyone thinks about anything we make, and I think when I got asked to join this podcast, there wasn't a second of hesitation. I said yes right away, because I've secretly been a fan of all of your guys' work, and I only knew Jake.
Yeah.
And I didn't know Jake for very long.
Yeah, no.
So
I only really knew you. I knew of the you two.
Yeah, like we knew of each
So
other.
I just know everyone.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
Look at
Jake
me.
is
Look at me.
the nexus.
Yeah.
That's right.
yeah, Jake was the nexus that kind of looped us all together.
I've
in a
always
way.
wanted to be a nexus. Thank you.
That should have been the name of the podcast. The Nexus.
Oh, okay.
There we
Scrap
go.
it,
It was
scrap
meant to
it.
be the Jerk Each Other Off podcast.
That was
No.
That was the working title we just came up with.
Yeah.
Right? Very New York.
Sure.
That's right. Perfect.
I don't know. I'm liking what I'm hearing about this Project Jerk.
That's right.
I am glad we're doing this though because I am also in a bubble where I don't really
Yeah.
talk to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So true.
And I also feel like I can be challenged a little bit. Like, you're a little spicy, you're a little smart, you're a video game god. So I was like, let me jump into the mud pit and get beat up a little bit. You know?
That's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's very solitary existence, YouTube. And I guess it's one thing that we don't really talk about much, but like, you are in your own kind of world, and you have a comment section, of course, but it's a different type of dialogue versus like sitting across the table from someone
Yeah.
and being like, actually, I think Death Stranding is cool. And the other person's like, actually, it sucks. And you're like, let's go. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That's cool
Mhm.
and fun. And so obviously the pandemic kind of obviously like intensified those feelings of like, we're all alone, you know?
Yeah.
And so having this podcast is really awesome just to be able to connect with people who are really at the top of their field, but also super nice and talented. And like, it's just really great. So I'm very glad it's all come together in the way that it has. And like I said, every fortnight, we're having a rotating host, by the way. That's cool. Like,
Yes.
it's not just going to be me every time.
Sometimes it'll be me fumbling.
Well, no,
through it.
Like, we've seen you host, you nail it every time. Don't be ridiculous. Because we've actually, as I said, we've recorded how many test episodes? 8.
Quite a
Say,
bit.
like 8.
Yeah, yeah.
Just to like
I've
vibe
written
check.
episode 5 like 9 times because I just lost count.
You're like,
Right,
I don't know.
okay.
This
true.
one's 5. This one's
That's
5.
true.
Yeah.
Let's
That's
just
true.
change the file structure. We'll just put dates on
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
It's easier.
That works.
And we also have to give a shout out to our editor as well, Jake2. He's amazing and fantastic, and this whole thing wouldn't have happened without him either. So, yes. Is there anything else we should cover at the front end?
Hello to other various audiences, especially like right now, if we're showing up on the Skill Up channel, like,
Sure.
Yeah.
hi, sorry, but hope you enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome,
Wow.
fantastic.
Yeah, I think you guys, if you guys don't know our work and know our personalities, it's going to take time to get used to us, obviously. So we just ask that you give us a little,
Trust me.
give us a shot.
Just trust me on this, okay? My channel, you will like these people, okay? This is as simple as that.
Yeah,
I know what
yeah.
you like, generally speaking. These people are all better at what I do than
That is-
I am,
That's
right?
very
So,
categorically
again,
not
you will
true.
like these people,
Not
okay?
true.
Just trust me. Just trust me on that.
Again, so this is the jerk each other off podcast.
Right.
Project
Coming back
Jerk,
to it. I love
baby.
it. That's right.
I'm not even kidding, but it's really nice to hop on a call with you guys and be like, oh, Ralph, I really liked your video this week. And then Jake, and oh, I really liked that thing you did on G4.
Yeah.
You nailed that one. Cool. All right, let's make fun of some video games and complain for a bit.
Yeah.
Because we've all been doing
Yeah.
That's
the,
why
we're doing
we're
the
here.
positivity beat for too long now.
Yeah,
It's making
no,
me
let's-
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right? So let's get into it. Now, the reason we're all here together in Los Angeles, as we say it in my homeland, is because of the Summer Games Fest. Now, there used to be E3, obviously, and they say it's coming back next year, but that's a big question mark. We'll find
see.
out about that. There's also, someone mentioned that like maybe it's going to be in Vegas. And I'm like,
Well, no, that was-
please
that
let
was-
it be in Vegas.
That was me going,
That was just-
I want it to be
that was just
Vegas.
us in a bar
That was
being
just
like,
us being
yeah.
like, yeah.
Yes. Vegas.
Yes. But right now, what happened was that Jeff Keighley essentially stepped up and he's like, well, there's going to be no E3. I'll do my own E3, sort of, with a small hands-on event for media, plus a whole bunch of showcases. Like, he had his own, Devolver had theirs, Xbox was today, PC games, future games, whatever. So that's why we're all here together. We attended the Play Days event, which is a 2-day hands-on event with a very limited number of games. And we also sat and watched all the showcases.
Yeah.
So let's just talk at a high level firstly about, like, what did you guys think of this Key 3, as the GameSpot staff have noted? They got t-shirts,
Go get your
by the
shit,
way.
go get your shit.
I should
Yes,
my
yeah,
luggage,
yeah,
goddammit, I should
yeah.
have brought it. But yeah, high level thoughts. So, like, Lucy, what did you think of how this all went down?
So it's a weird is probably the word I would use, but I mean weird in a good way, just because, I mean, I've been to 8 E3s and I have, a very fixed idea of how an E3 runs. And so Play Days, Key 3 felt like E3 in a lot of ways. It was really nice just to see everyone and catch up with everyone and get excited about video games, not on a Zoom call with everyone. And, you know, we were part of the small GameSpot contingent and Giant Bomb contingent who were here on the ground in LA. And it was just nice and exhausting to work the show. But most importantly, like, I got to have a hands-on with a bunch of games. And I really, really missed that.
Sure.
I missed the feeling of just sitting down at a demo and not knowing what to expect, or, you know, it just felt really nice. And like in terms of the showcases, it's again a weird year because not a lot of stuff is ready.
Yeah.
And so I think the big things that hit really hard.
Yeah.
Well, I think, you know, stuff like Callisto Protocol. I think Xbox had a great showing today. But I think as well there is a volume problem in other ways. You know, Wholesome Games had, and I love Wholesome Games Direct, but it's like had over 70, and then you're just kind of rattling through games. And so I think when it comes to showcases, not every game gets the time it deserves. But then in a kind of curated hands-on event where you can spend more time and it's not just a minute 30 trailer, that's the bit that I love.
Yeah, for sure. Dry, what do you think, man?
I loved it. I think the big reason why I loved it is because I think I've done maybe 12 E3s at this point.
Wow.
I was that guy.
Wow.
I was that guy that was like, I'm not in the industry. How do I sneak into E3? And so right when I graduated from college, it was my goal to get into the games industry. And so I had friends who had like tech companies that never belonged at E3, but to get into E3, you had to scan your business license. You had to have your passport. It was a a tough time.
And then they leaked it all online.
It got leaked anyways. But I think by the time that E3 went away, we experienced that thing of, it's no longer industry folks for the people who are actually in the industry. It's now a publicly attainable event. And it congested lines. It made it unbearable. The prices of food and drinks in the arena would go up. And then if you're a creator walking around, you're missing appointments because you don't want to disappoint fans that say hello. You want to make sure you say hi to everyone. And so for me, I was ready to just be like, I think 2019's E3 was my last one, unless I was getting paid to do some type of company activation.
Sure.
So for me, this was the perfect event to kind of get back into it. The event itself, just going in person. I am 8-Bit. John Gibson and his team are brilliant. And the fact they teamed up with Jeff to host the event was just so fun. And I think my favorite thing that I think you hit the nail on with the head on the nail was that I miss not only playing the games at these booths, but talking with the developers directly.
Yeah.
You know, at the day of the dev booths, and when I played A Little to the Left and Birth, those two ladies were so passionate about their game, and they knew everything about it, and I didn't have to worry about the game itself. I just talked to them the whole time, and it was just so fun to see the passion light up in their eyes. It hits you different than when you're like,
Definitely.
hey, there's a line for Final Fantasy 14 online. Go wait for 45 minutes and then play a demo for 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I just want to see it get bigger in terms of, I like how it's small, but a little bigger so it can accommodate maybe smaller creators or maybe a couple of people from the public. Just like, because my thought was really just like, oh man, I wish more people could check out games like this.
Yeah.
You know?
I would love it because I know Xbox were they did the FanFest thing and they had, you know, Major Nelson's off in Australia.
Yeah.
Graham Boyd's in, I think, Madrid.
Yeah.
And so I would love it if they had like little local ones where you had the same games. We'll talk about Day of the Devs because that's easily my highlight, but it's like that kind of event.
Yeah.
And then maybe, I don't know, a simulcast of whatever showcases are on. It could be really nice.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, personally, I really respect what Jeff and i8bit did here because they didn't have a huge amount of time to spin it up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, E3 has like 20 plus years of incumbency at this point. It's got a brand, it's just like, it's in the calendar, it's locked down. So I think Jeff did a good job in setting up what he could. And I give him full credit for that. At the same time, this is just a shadow of what we used to experience at E3. Like, it's less than 5%, you know?
Yeah.
In terms of who is here, in terms of what we're able to actually play, all of that, right? And I know a lot of people are like, oh, E3 sucks, it's terrible, we just need trailers. And it's like, well, I don't think so, because I do think that having the perspective of people who go hands-on with the game makes a big difference. Like we're going to talk about Sonic Frontiers very soon.
Oh, yeah.
And we have some different
Yeah.
opinions on that.
yeah.
And if you just saw a trailer for Sonic, or you just had the IGN first stuff, like that's not a thing. You know, like you don't have that back and forth then. So I think that matters. People going hands on with stuff. But you're right. Also talking to the devs, like Metal Hellsinger is a game which we'll talk about later as well. I got to talk to the lead developer on it, and he's like this young guy, and he's like top of the world right now because everyone loves his game. And you just see this happy. I don't know.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. You know what I mean? So I think E3 really, really matters. I've always said that. I've never been cynical about E3. I think the ESA sucks, but I think E3 rules, you know? And so I really hope that it comes back. And whether it's Jeff runs it or the ESA do it, like if I had the choice between no E3 or the E3 run or E3 run by the ESA, I will take that E3 run by the ESA because it needs to exist, you know? So I mean it's an evolving landscape.
Yeah.
But I just hope that we get more than we got this year.
My bottom line is just like, because I'm a fan first.
Yeah.
So as long as something is going on where in the summer or in some part of June, there is a bunch of video game stuff to just digest, I'm in.
Yeah, but also it's like, I mean, from the content creation side of things, the media side of things, it's been a dry year.
Oh, we're thirsty. Yeah.
It genuinely felt like once Elden Ring came out, that
was our year.
everything
That was
stopped.
it.
Yeah,
That's
that was it.
That is actually quite true. Everything. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Thankfully, we'll have Sonic next. So,
Well, actually, that's probably a good segue then, because we can actually talk now. Because there was, again, just to be clear, the showcases that you all saw, like the webinars, whatever, they were one thing. But there was also this thing called Play Days, which was an invite-only event for media. And like Zed was there, I think, as well.
Was,
you know what I mean? And that was it, really. And so that was a small thing. I reckon there was probably, I'm going to say 20 games playable there.
Yep.
Does that sound right?
Yeah.
20 games, all right? So we all played different stuff on the floor there, different lengths of time. Let's talk firstly about the most interesting one, because Sonic Frontiers was playable on the show floor, okay? And the only person who had a full hands-on session with it was Jake.
Not true.
Oh, you also did.
okay, good.
Sweet.
Okay.
I'm so
not only,
interested.
so
You played twice, right?
I played 3 times.
Oh my god! Do you know? I went up there and I'm
man.
like, "Can I please get it?" And they're like, "No, sorry." And I'm like, "Look, I'll wait around. It's all
Meanwhile-
good." And they're like, "It's impossible." I'm like, "Is it really though?" And now I find out that you got 3 hands-on
Well,
sessions.
so to be clear, the first day, I wasn't there the first day, but the first day I heard was way busier than the second day.
Yep.
The second day, it felt like a party. There was no one there. It was
Right.
a lot more
Walk up.
relaxed. You could
Hey,
walk
man.
up. And so I unfortunately had no appointments. I had one appointment, and then the rest never showed up or went to spam.
Sure.
And so I luckily knew a majority of the PR folks at every station and was able to weasel my way in. But a lot of people didn't show up to their appointments on day 2.
Yeah, right.
So I was like, well, if they're not going to show up, I'm going to show up.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So then, what did you think of Sonic?
Oh, man. I want to hear Jake go first.
No, this is the thing. Come
You
on,
want me to go first?
Yeah,
Okay.
like, you go first. You go first.
Full disclosure, I'm a massive Sonic fan.
Okay.
I've completed all of them. I know them intimately very well. I loved it. I thought it was so fun. Oh my god. I will say it is founded in the boost mechanics, and it is a bit clunky.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I think the thing that I loved the most in the beginning, my first demo playthrough, I was worried. I was like, everything looks a little rough. It doesn't feel smooth. It doesn't connect very well. But as you start unlocking power-ups and it starts changing the gameplay and Sonic unlocks new moves and new combat skills, I was starting to get my groove on, and then that's when my demo ended. I only got like 15 minutes. But then I remembered, Sonic Generations, Sonic Forces, they have a certain style of gameplay. So when I came back for my second demo, I knew how to play the game. And immediately was like, okay, I'm going to treat this like I'm streaming or speed running, where when I'd fight an enemy, I was like, okay, it's like Dark Souls. I have to do combat and dodge and weave. And immediately I was succeeding every step of the way. And I suddenly downloaded how to play, and I was like, this is going to be great. It's going to be fun. The one sentence summary is, it's Breath of the Wild meets Sonic.
Yeah.
Wait, so
Which I think is such a cursed sentence, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It
like,
very much is.
deeply-
Yeah,
It
people
very
get-
much
yeah.
is.
So, yeah.
So your first hands-on, you were like getting to grips with it. Your second was your speed run. What was your third?
The third one was, I want to see everything. I want to make sure I exhaust the demo time
Yeah.
Right.
and see every single thing.
Right.
I got several Chaos Emeralds, which the demo people were like, No one's ever done that. I was able to get 2 of them.
Yeah.
Sure.
I saw all of the cyber rooms that were available to play, and I did every single quick puzzle that was around. So there's a lot of rails and homing attack puzzles you have to figure out, and I was
Sure.
able to do all of them. I got all of the Amy Heart resource memories and all of the defensive ones too.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah.
A gamer.
Interesting.
True gamer,
right?
gamer.
Yeah. Sure.
He completed the demo.
Yeah,
They-
that's right.
that's the money catchphrase everyone
What
says
he
to
do.
me. Yep.
It's definitely rough, and I do want to see it get delayed, but I really had fun with it. It started to click like once certain things showed up, things that weren't initially made clear in the IGN preview and stuff like that. I was like, oh, okay. I think the only people that might not go for it are people that don't play every Sonic game and they think this is going to be the new Breath of the Wild one that changes it completely.
looking at Rob.
Because it's still a Sonic game. It's got weird bullshit, but I couldn't help but just have fun. The way it's a lot smoother than you would initially think. I like the way you can kind of progress through the open world by unlocking new rails to grind on and ways to get around faster. Like, I thought that was a pretty good loop. I want the enemies to be a little more interesting, but like once I fought a large enemy in a field and I'm target locked on that enemy and I'm strafing around them, running really fast as Sonic, I'm like, okay, this is cool.
Did you fight the God boss at the end of the demo?
No, I didn't get to that.
That was pretty rad.
Sonic can fight a literal god.
It became like Shadow of the Colossus, where
Yeah,
you
I
like
saw that.
scale this thing and fight it. And it was pretty rad.
Yeah, it's definitely got some charm.
Yeah,
It's just very rough.
it is rough.
Wait, when's
Yeah,
it?
right.
So I'm not a Sonic person
Mhm.
at all. When
Mhm.
I just saw the hubbub around the IGN first stuff. When is it out?
Sometime this year.
It
End of
says
this year?
no, 2023.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I don't think it's
They
coming
still
out.
got
Oh,
a
you're
lot of
right,
time.
it is,
They
yeah,
still got time.
yeah.
yeah. Like take your time.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You
If
know,
it get-
Miyamoto.
yeah.
quote
The whole
here.
quote: do
If
the
it-
game good, and then if you don't have to do it, if you just take a break,
That's exactly what-
everything will be fine.
That's what me and
Or
Rob
whatever.
said.
Yeah,
That's the quote.
I fumble it every
That's right,
time.
perfect.
Every time.
No, well, look. Okay, here's the thing. Full transparency. Because I didn't get a booking, right, and then I was like hustling, and I only got on for like 10 minutes. Okay, so I have to put a massive caveat on
Okay,
everything
yeah.
that I
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
Okay.
It's possible that actually this is the best game ever.
Yeah.
After minute 11. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Okay.
Right.
But the first 10 minutes that I played, I had such a visceral reaction. I'm like, this fucking sucks. Like, for the first, like, 2 or 3 minutes of my demo, I was literally like, excuse me, can I ask a question? Is this actually running on local hardware, or is this being streamed?
Yeah.
Because it looked so
It felt
terrible
streamed.
that I was like, is there something wrong going on here? And they're like, no, it's on local hardware. And I'm like, okay. The image looks so degraded and pixelated, and like the textures look so low quality. I was like, there has to be something wrong here.
Yeah.
But no, that was it, you know? So then I started playing, and I was like, wow, this is so boring and quiet, and the soundscape is empty. And then I met some enemies that just look like weird triangles stapled together.
Yeah.
And I spam the square button, and then they all die. I got to one puzzle, and they're like, stand on pads to unlock stuff. Imagine like there's a pad over where Gerard is, one where I am, and one like right there. You stand on it, stand on it, stand on it. That's it. That's the puzzle. I'm
Yeah.
like, are you fucking kidding me
Yeah.
right now? I was like, wow, this is awful. And then because I only could play for like, as
This
I
is
say,
so good, by the way.
I
This is so
only
good.
could play.
I love this.
For a little bit more than that.
did.
I did some more like rail grinding stuff, like random rails floating in the ether. Like, oh, cool, that makes sense from a. Anyway, so then I got kicked off, and then I just stood there, watched other people play, and I'm like, yep, this still looks really terrible. Like, I watched people do the boss, I looked other parts of the game. I was like, I cannot understand how anyone likes this. So when I meet other people, because I met a whole bunch of people, like Blessing, for example, from Kind of Funny, he's like, dude, I really liked it. I'm like, how? How did you really like this? What's up with that? So I feel like maybe I just didn't play enough of it, but I watched a lot of it. Like
Yeah.
I watched at least 45 minutes of it, just standing behind watching people. And at no point was I ever like, oh, I really want to play that bit. I was just like, what is going on here? You know what I mean?
Everything you said though is valid.
Yeah.
It didn't. The overworld did not look great. It definitely ran less than 30 frames. Like
Yeah.
things were popping in and out all over the place.
pop-in is legendarily bad.
Yeah, but I think there's in my opinion, there's a couple of things to take away. I wish they showed this demo for the IGN preview first and foremost, because what we saw from the IGN drip feed demo was a slice of a slice of a slice, and it looked worse than the actual build that we played. I felt like what we played was at least 50% better than what they showed the audience. So
Yeah.
immediately it was they shot themselves in the foot for that fact. The second thing is that the fact that we can't, because of the embargo,
we can't.
the coolest stuff that's in the game looks the cleanest, performs the cleanest,
Correct.
has the most tight gameplay,
Yes.
and should have been the thing they focused on within the presentation, which they did not.
We're not allowed to talk about that stuff, by the way. There's
Yeah.
an embargo that stops us from talking about the coolest part of the game.
Yeah.
My biggest concern is that the open world, while I like how some of the collectibles, some of the flow, like the way you play in the open world, I wish it had a little bit more personality.
It has
like Sonic
none.
has nothing to say. Nothing's really going on.
He doesn't make any noises during combat or jumping, does he? He's just silent Sonic.
It genuinely
He's focused.
feels like it genuinely feels like they made this demo just for us to play, and that like it felt very rushed.
And they're like, oh
yeah.
well, they're on a show floor. They don't need sound. It's fine.
Right,
We can
right.
worry about that later.
Yeah,
I mean,
plus it also ran in windowed mode during that
Oh,
demo. That's
no,
a true
it
thing.
did
Never once have I
not.
played any hands-on demo that were playing in windowed mode, but this was the first time.
Yeah.
So like, I will bet my life savings that this is delayed. There is no way this ships as planned.
Yeah.
Because it is so unbelievably unready for launch. But even more than that, I just feel like, imagine Sonic. Imagine what it could be. Imagine all the best things we think about Sonic. This vision of the overworld is the exact opposite of that.
Yeah.
It is so bad from just a core design foundation. And I'm like, we're not going to get another Sonic game for like another 3 or 4 years now, at least. You know what I mean? Sonic is popping off at the moment. It's like the biggest movie ever for video games.
Yeah, don't blow this.
Yeah, that's right. And they're blowing it. You know what I mean? So
I have a feeling that because of the film and because of Sonic Mania and now Sonic Origins, they're going to... And they learned with Sonic Team Racing. Sonic Team Racing was not ready for launch. They delayed it 6 months, and it got 8s and 9s across the board. I think, and now with Aaron Weber, who used to run the Sonic Twitter, he's now in Japan, and he's very much the center of this game.
Sure.
I have a strong belief that they're going to delay it because they know. They know. When people were trying to take photos and videos of the booth at the show,
Yeah.
and they were walking around going, nope, no,
sure.
don't
And,
do
like
that.
sliding a plant in front
yeah,
of
they
the
did. They
screen.
put
they put
plants
plants all over
around
the
the
booth.
thing.
Yeah.
That is the thing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So Twitch had these little. We didn't mention the little Twitch robots.
Oh,
Twitch,
yeah, that was
First
fun.
day,
That was
yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
So they had these little iPads that were on a stick
right.
and walking. They were rolling around, and streamers were controlling them. And
That's what that was?
Yes, that's what that was.
So
Isn't
if
that
you-
cool?
I thought it was security. I was like, I don't trust these cops. I was like, no way.
Bruce Green made out with one. It was hilarious. Yeah.
So if you talked into that camera, you were being broadcast on someone's stream.
Oh, I avoided them, so that's
Right,
good.
Yeah.
No, so I was chatting to a friend of mine who works at Twitch, and he went, yeah, so we're not allowed to show any Sonic. So I'm walking around
Yeah,
basically, and because the streamers can control where the camera goes, and they're like, I'm just walking around making sure that we don't get in trouble.
Not this way. Not this way.
Yeah, there was
Sonic.
like no capture, and they were like sending out B-roll and whatever. But they're obviously terrified of it being presented in the wrong way, and like, well, yeah, like I can understand why because.
But I don't know, like even with the IGN first, those kind of deals, they would have had all the control with regards to what got shown, and
Well,
it still didn't
I don't
look
know
great.
about that, to be honest with you. I'm not sure. I don't know the terms of those deals.
I mean, sometimes it's like they'll probably provide the asset.
That's what
and
I'm
like,
thinking, yeah.
and they'll provide the asset. They might. I'm not saying I know exactly
Sure.
with IGN stuff, but like, I remember when we worked with the Persona team. Like, we worked with them very closely to get the interview and whatever. And they said, hey, can we see it before it goes up? Like, it wasn't any kind of hit piece. It was an audio
Sure.
logs, and they were like, so you've cut the character out of the background here, and that is not how the asset is meant to be interpreted.
Oh,
and like, so
right.
they're very, very strict on stuff. So
Sure.
I can't imagine that with a reveal of gameplay on something like a new Sonic game that they would just go wild, do whatever you want with this. No, I think that would have been more
When Breath of the
controlled.
Wild had their big debut, Nintendo said, "Go wild." I think that was
That's it. That confidence of being
That's
like,
Yeah.
and also to the world at the time before it
Yeah.
got delayed a couple months later, their belief was the game's coming out in 6 months, right? That's generally what E3
Sure.
does.
Yeah.
Is if there's a playable demo most of the time, and there's a release date within 6 to 9 months.
yeah,
This game is not coming out in 6 to 9 months.
sure, absolutely.
It
not.
can't.
More like it should come out in 69 months.
Hey, that's how we got Jake on the
Nice,
podcast.
nice.
Told you I didn't oversell him.
Project
That's right.
Jerk, baby.
Yeah.
We should move on to the next thing. And I think the other headline thing at Playdays
other big one.
was Street Fighter 6.
Yeah.
Now the thing is, Gerard is
Champ.
he's a fighting games dude.
Oh, yeah.
The rest of us are not.
Yeah.
But we're very lucky here because we have Timur hanging in the background.
Yeah.
And we're going to invite him onto the couch
Yeah.
so we can get his take because he actually knows shit
Yeah.
about fighting games. That's what we said we would
Come
do.
on,
Why do you
yeah,
take that
yeah.
face?
Car.
That's why we've got
Yeah,
special
get in here,
guests. There's the room. We can all cuddle in.
yeah,
It's
hang
fine.
on.
No.
Get
You
back
can
in here.
cuddle in. Let's
Yeah,
do
sure.
it. It's
All right,
fine.
okay.
Let's go.
Also, yeah, Gerard has so much lore.
I have
Like-
more.
We're doing this.
Yeah,
Gerard's stories are really good,
Yeah, you
yeah.
just ran like we were talking about Street Fighter in the car, and you were like, "Oh yeah, I was in
That's
Evo,
right. I know you
and
won
I
a
was."
competition.
I would like to
I-
petition to
yeah.
be like the goblin of this podcast that you keep in like the cellar. Whenever you don't know anything or you
We
need
like ring. We like ring a
Yeah,
bell,
you
or we
just,
like stamp
put it
like
up
this.
and I I come out like
That's
me
what you
talk
do.
video game.
I was like, "You take my mic. I don't have shit to say about
Okay,
Street Fighter. I just watched you play."
Timur spent a lot of time playing Street Fighter 6 at Playdays. Maybe we'll get your impressions off the top. What do you think? How did it go?
Of Street Fighter?
Street Fighter.
Yeah, it's funny you were talking about confidence and Sonic and Zelda, and the thing that I felt immediately from Street Fighter. I played for, I've been saying 4 hours a lot. I think it's maybe like closer to 3, but it also could be 10 depending on like my brain. I think the immediate thing that I got out of it was they're confident.
Right.
They get this.
Sure.
Street Fighter 5, I'm sure Gerard, you can talk about it as well. Like it looked like a confidently delivered game, but when you played it, it was like, this is not confidently delivered. Like
okay.
it was like they did just enough to get it into a playable kind of like experience that most people who don't have a lot of kind of like experience with fighting games won't be able to pick apart. But if you played a lot of fighting games, you immediately saw, like you could almost chart how it was going to go for the next 3 years. And that's exactly how it went. This game feels way more confident overall, right? Like the way it looks, the way it sounds, the way it plays. And I think the thing that for me is most kind of like a good sign about it is I don't know how it all works yet. I'm like not 100% sure how everything functions. When I played 5, I was like, it was like there was not enough pieces for me to be confused about how it all fits together. Okay. It was like this clicks into this clicks into this, and then this clicks into this, and that's it. And with a fighting game, that just means it's predictable, it's rigid, it only works in one way. Whereas Street Fighter 6, I played it, I'm still figuring out how one thing, like someone asked me if it had one frame links in it the other day, and one frame links,
Don't know what that means.
course.
yeah,
that was my
I mean,
first
like one
question.
frame links is a kind of like a kind of a way to create combos where you basically have, let's say you have 2 moves, let's say there's a punch and a kick. The only way, ordinarily, if you press punch and kick, there's too much cooldown on one and start up on the other to combo. However, there's usually something where you have a single frame in between those 2 moves that you can use. If you land it in the perfect frame, one frame, it will serve as the bridge between those 2, first the punch and the kick, to create a combo. And it's like,
you can combo buffer them too.
Yeah.
So it's like you can go light punch, heavy punch right away, and it goes ba ba, and
Yeah.
you can then go into Hadouken. So it's like
Yeah.
Sure.
ba ba, and it just connects together.
yeah, you can't you might try and you can't hop and jump, but if you put a skip in between, you can get a hop skip jump. You know what I'm saying?
That's a
Yeah.
good way to say it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what someone asked me, and I was like, I'm not 100% sure, because I didn't try and do that because I've been playing 5 for so long where
Yeah.
it doesn't have any of that, like, and it's boring because of it. The last time they did that was 4, and it was like that was the thing that allowed you to elevate your play, and it would made it more interesting, because then when you were watching someone play competitively and you saw that skip,
Sure.
you were like, holy shit, that was incredible. No one else, and everyone else would be like, yeah, this looks
is
like
how it
fine.
works,
But
yeah.
you're like, you didn't see that one frame in the thing that changed the entire game.
Sure.
And that's what this has, I think, and I think that's what's most exciting about it.
cool.
But I'm interested in what you thought of it, Gerard.
I mean, the thing that really blew me away was the fact that for the first time in a long while, EX moves and moves that normally would cost meter no longer cost meter. So, you know, in most cases, in Street Fighter games, you could do a Hadouken or Shoryuken or Tatsu. And if you do 2 buttons, you do like a stronger version of it, and it would drain your super meter. The biggest change for this is in Street Fighter 6, you have a separate meter at the very top that is there the whole time, and it's consistently filling back up as you're using it. And the fact that you now do EX moves into super, it's just going to change how the professional game goes. And the fact that they have like the I forget what they're called. There's a parry move that like there's a bunch of mechanics that are all based around this meter that's underneath
Drive,
it.
parry.
Drive, parry, EX
Drive,
moves,
impact.
drive, impact, and at the end of the day, it all screams style, which is what Street Fighter V really lacked. It didn't have that the style that even Street Fighter 4 had. Even when you did a super in Street Fighter 4, there's that moment where it does the zoom in as you're about to hit him, and Zangief's eyes or Blanca's eyes are always like, oh no, and it was always like, oh, this is gonna feel good to connect.
Sure.
You didn't get that same vibe in Street Fighter 5. In Street Fighter 6, it's everything, the color splashes, the character select stuff, even the commentary I didn't mind. They have these pro player commentaries.
Yeah.
It's pretty rad. And I think you know how good a game is because Maximilian Dude was in both days, played no other game.
I just saw him there the whole time, and every time I saw him on I was like, that makes me happy. It's just this dude just nerding out on this thing. It's just like, it was nice to see him doing that.
He was in this element.
Yeah. It was good. It was good.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. I know that the roster already leaked online weeks before, which is kind of a bummer. But I'm really curious and obviously we didn't see it, but look, there's a whole open world mechanic and a whole adventure mode kind of waiting for us.
Good for me, who sucks at fighting games. It's a good in.
Yeah.
So I did an interview with the director and the producer, and I talked a bit about that. And obviously, they were a bit cagey around it. But I think the interesting thing about the adventure mode is the actual name of it. It's called World Tour Mode. And I think that's interesting because it's not a name that you pull out willy-nilly and put into a Street Fighter game without kind of really understanding the implications of it. Because there was one other game, Street Fighter 0/Alpha 3, depending on where you played it, had a mode called World Tour Mode. And that mode was like, it was just in that one game. It's not been used anywhere else. And that was made up of, you pick a character, and then that character is your kind of main. And then you go into a menu, it's a world map, and you travel the world and you fight characters. And as you win, you go into one match, standard fight, you go into another match, it's like you've got half health bar, other characters got full health bar, you do less damage.
I see,
and you accrue experience, and then as you kind of accrue that experience, you can level up and add like attributes to your key character to be like, oh, your bar feels faster, or this and that. But the important thing about it was it's a journey. It was all menu based, like you would move around the map via menus. But important thing was you were traveling the world. Everything we've seen so far has all been in Metro City. And so I said to them, like, why have you called it World Tour Mode when everything we've seen is in Metro City? Are we going around the world? And they all looked at each other like,
That's a yes. That's confirmation.
We're going to talk about that at this time.
Fighting games community, you heard it here first.
Yeah, well, they were like, we'll talk about this again. We'll talk about this stuff in the future, maybe. But like, I'm expecting, if I'm like really speculating, I'm expecting loads of locations. I expect Metro City is just a small of it. And if you look at the fidelity of stuff in Metro City, it looks at times not great. Like there's some characters who look kind of wonky, and it looks kind of like some buildings are a bit off. And I looked at it and I was like, the only reason that would be like that is if it's not a place that you spend a lot of time at, like really scrutinizing. It's not like a Arkham City or something like that where you're supposed to really like, get a feel for that. I think it's a place where you go, you run around, you do some missions, maybe beat up some people, accrue some kind of experience, and then jet off to Brazil where you got to find Blanca and beat them up. Exactly. USSR.
The little plane?
That kind of
little
stuff.
plane going across.
I hope you get on the little plane.
That's shit. That was
so
great.
I think it's going to have the RPG mechanics. I think we will like travel around the road, and I think that is going to be more than just Metro City on location. And the way they talked about that single player mode was they want that to be kind of also a training mode. Where it's
cool.
like
like
people like Ralph can jump in and Jay can jump in and
not
be
just
like,
me. We all
I mean like jump in and be like, play the game, understand the mechanics against these AI characters that are not ruthless immediately.
Sure.
And then that kind of serves as a gateway to like playing, with your friends, which hopefully you develop some proficiency to play. And then, the world is your oyster from that point on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, personally, like, I am actually interested in checking it out. Like, I don't imagine that I'm going to go the whole, like, I'm going to get good at Street Fighter. But, like, I will buy it, and I will play it, and I'll do the thing, and I'll probably try some online matches just to see it. Because, like, I really enjoyed what I played. Like, I probably spent a good, like, half an hour on it, and I was like, I would love to play more of this. It's actually really funny, because I did my thing on the first day, like one of the early sessions, and I asked the Capcom guy, I'm like, hey man, can I do some over-the-shoulder recording of this? And he's like, yeah, no worries. So I put up this clip of like me playing Chun-Li, and I was like, whatever, who cares, man? I don't know anything about fighting games, I'm just going to put up a random clip. And then turns out that was the very first gameplay that had gone out of anything. So all these like fighting game blue check marks are like retweeting me and shit. And I'm just like, guys, I don't know anything. I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I did this,
That's where I came along.
That's right. I'm like, Tam, please do something.
I did the same thing, and they were doing it to me, and I was like, I guess it's my life now. Like, stayed there for 4 hours. Yeah.
No, but I'm keen. Would you check it out?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was able to like, kind of, hold my own.
Yeah.
Obviously, I was playing against a computer, but on normal. And, I figured out some of the classic moves, and, I have the control set I got used to. I also just really like the presentation. It's super cool. The characters
really nice.
look incredible. The entrances are incredible, like all that stuff. And I
love the dumb face mechanics.
It's Soul Calibur 2, right? Like, you could do that.
Yes.
You totally could.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so they've clearly like looked at other fighting games and gone like, what can we steal from
Because
this?
Soul Calibur had that journey mode as well, I remember.
Yeah, so it had Edgemaster mode,
Yeah,
which
that's right.
means
That's right.
something completely different in this day and age. Jerkcast, let's go. So they have the Soul Calibur like the taunt system, but they also have the Tekken slowdown mode. So like when you're under a certain amount of health, like when there's about to be the decisive blow happening, like it will zoom in and everything will slow down, and you get to watch to see if it's going to connect. And sometimes you might be able to, like, if you were quick enough, back out of it, and it'll go back into normal thing. And it's like got a dramatic moment in there that's really, really cool. And there's a lot of like flourishes where it's got dynamic blocking. So in old fighting games, like there was one block animation, regardless of where you hit, it was the same animation. But now it's like if you're going low, like your character will have a low block animation, a mid block animation, a high block animation. It's a really cool like thing where people have seen the animation, but it's got Chun-Li, and like someone's doing like a barrage of loads of punches, and she's doing the kung fu like
that's
in the way, and it looks amazing.
I did that.
Cool.
That was really rad. The computer went in, and I just kept pressing it, and it was not only like she had this like, because she's Chun-Li, she had this sense of like
bored.
I'm so over this. It was like almost like she's at a rave party, just like trying to get through the fight.
Exactly.
The younger characters versus the older characters. There is a difference, like the way they come off when they like in the entrance and everything.
Getting too old for this shit.
And that like kind of that swagger carries through to everything. Like it's and the best. I think the thing that gives me the most confidence is what you guys said with Zelda, where Nintendo were like, do what you want. It's the opposite with what Capcom are doing. They came out, they showed the game, they let everyone play the game, then they tweeted, all right, we're going dark for another 6 months.
Badass.
We'll see you guys later. We'll see everyone later. We've got some work to do. So like, I think it's going to be amazing. I think the goal, Gerard, for you is to teach everyone how to do a one-frame link.
Loose to you.
Once they've all done a one-frame link.
Loose to you, you're going to check it out. What do you think?
I am, because I'm typically not a fighting game player. I used to play a bunch of Tekken.
Oh, nice.
I was a big Tekken fan with my friend Beth. We got like a copy of Tekken 4, 3, and we just kind of played it over a summer. I don't know. I'm playing it for the story, but no, I know that I'm not going to be good enough. But listening to Tam talking about and we were on the Game Informer podcast yesterday,
last year.
I don't know. But they were all talking about it, and just difference between different skill levels, but they were all finding something enjoyable about it. And that's I think I've said this to you before, but things that I wish that I had a better understanding of, that I could get involved in, and one of them is Final Fantasy 14, wrestling, but also fighting games. They are a really big, just a spot for me where I've never...
I can teach you all three things.
Okay. I was going to say...
If you want to learn,
very handy.
Tam and I can help you.
Yeah, please.
You're interested in Destiny?
No
one is interested in Destiny.
No.
Look at that that response, man. Wow. That was a lot. All right.
The other thing that kind of finally that will help enable a bit that I think is the modern input methods, which I think
Yeah.
a lot of people are going to turn their nose up to, like, oh, it's shortcuts, but like, firstly, Smash has normalized that. It's like perfectly fine. If you played Capcom versus SNK AK2 EO on Xbox or GameCube or whatever it may be, like that had simplified control mechanics. And also the simplified control mechanics in this one is more of a middle ground between something as simple as Smash and the others. So like the way it functions is you press a direction and one specific button, and it has a small subset of a character's special moves mapped to those. It's not the entire subset, it's the thing. And the rest of the buttons still function as normal, so you can do everything else manually if you want to. And I think that really helps take the pressure off execution.
Sure.
Like, because sometimes you teach someone new that here's the move, quarter circle forward, punch, does Hadouken. They learn how to do it on their own, and then the moment they're playing against someone and someone jumps at them, they can't do it because it's the pressure of it.
Yeah.
And that's purely it. I think the value in this method is it takes the execution off and allows them to understand the mind games and the kind of strategy behind it. So when someone jumps at them, they don't have to think about how do I do this input again. They know uppercut. And you can do a Shoryuken. How do I do that? Up in this button, do it. And if you're a seasoned player, you just take that L because you jumped. Either way, a good player would have done the same thing in the same time with the same execution as someone who shortcutted it. So you were at fault for jumping. That's it.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be an amazing way to bring new people in and build the confidence to the point where hopefully, in the same way that pad players go to arcade stick and then maybe to hitbox, it will be like something similar where it's like, I started with simple execution, I got real comfortable with the strategy and the pacing, and now I'm going to manual execution, and then before you know it, you're a seasoned fighting game player.
And it's important, I agree with that so much, Tam, that it's important that everyone at home needs to take away that, like, no one loses on the fact that this is a thing. What it does is it brings more people to show up.
Sure.
So the game gets support for the next 10 years. So that there's Street Fighter 7, there's spin-offs. Like, it's important that, like, get developers let the experts have their cake and eat it too, and let people who are intimidated by it also be able to join in on the fun.
Yeah. All right.
I'm sure everyone will agree with that. I'm sure every single person who plays Street Fighter will agree with that take. So
I'm sure.
It's probably a good time to end the Street Fighter block. So
Goblin goes back into basement.
That's right. Get back down there.
Bye,
Just open up the thing. Thank you very much
Incredible
for your insight. We appreciate it very much.
Yeah.
And look, well, I guess we'll can sort of wrap up. Or there's actually a few more things we did at Playdays because you did Day of the Devs and you were really excited about
Yeah.
that. So
Love
tell us
Day
what
of
the
the
deal
Devs.
with Day of the Devs was.
Day of the Devs was easily my favorite thing Playdays. So it is at least yearly. I think it's like multiple times per year, but it's put together by now I Am 8-Bit, but also with Double Fine. They're kind of the curators behind it, and they just find loads of really cool games that might kind of not catch your attention otherwise. They curate them and then they put them on like hands-on events. And so there was Day of the Devs' stream after Jeff's thing on Thursday, and then they had 8 or so games playable
8.
on the show floor. And the one thing I will say is that the appointment was only an hour, and you had 6 minutes with each game.
What?
Yeah,
That
it
sucks.
was
Turn and burn.
It was
Yeah.
a lot. You had
Yeah.
to just
How you
pay
should do
attention
it.
and go.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
so we were talking to the us two because British people will find each other, and I was talking to Danny, who's the creative director on Desta, the emotional dodgeball game.
What?
The Netflix game.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he was saying, we didn't realize we had like 6 minutes. So at the beginning of the day, it would take us, like 3 minutes to even explain the concept
Yeah.
of the game. But by the end of the first day, they were like, okay, minute, and then you can play it. But no, it was just a lot of really cool, interesting, like really quirky games. There was Time Flies, an incredible concept. It is just, you play as a fly, you have a very short lifespan, and you have to just cross stuff
I've
off
seen
your
that
bucket
one.
list.
That is very cool.
Very
That is
cool.
very cool.
Just very simple. There was the one that I really liked, and the name is the one that I always forget.
The escape room one?
No,
No,
the
okay.
and I don't want to be reductive and say that it looks like Stardew Valley, but it takes a lot from Stardew Valley.
It's the bear. No,
Patcha.
it's like Patcha or
a road to Patcha or something.
Road to
Roots of Patcha.
Roots of Patcha.
Thank
that's
you.
the one.
Tam saved us
Thank you,
again.
the chair.
God damn
Podcast
it.
Goblin.
Yeah.
They handed out cookies after you played, and they were
What?
delicious.
Oh wow, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
they,
I didn't get that.
The
Corrupt.
the devs were from.
Games
I
journalism.
forget what country the devs were from, but they like hand baked cookies for people who
Oh.
played.
Like
That's
Ted
huge.
Lasso
That's
Yeah.
instead of like a
Big
game
Ted.
dev.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love
lots
it.
of game- But it's basically, it was Stardew-esque in that you but in terms of like the UI, it looked very much like Stardew. The art style looked very much like Stardew. But instead of just having a farm or whatever, you basically invent things.
It's like Civ meets
Yeah.
Stardew Valley.
You got like a tech tree.
Yeah,
No. You're in the Stone Age, and you have to. So at the beginning, there isn't a clock.
Yeah.
There's just the sun, kind of,
Yeah.
And then you and the other villagers, like one person will have an idea, and you help them develop it, and he comes up with a sundial,
Yeah.
and then you get like a little clock
That's
thing.
cool.
So
That's
it's
cool.
like
I like
loads
that.
of little things like that. And I think-
Research tracks.
yeah, and I think they said they would go up to sort of Bronze Age and have all those discoveries, which I thought was really cool. But my favorite was Birth.
I loved Birth.
So Bear and Breakfast was also there, but I was like, I've had that wish list for ages. I'm very excited about that one. But Birth, you're building a friend
You're like building a character for yourself, and that
because you're
character-
lonely.
Yeah, because you're lonely, and your character is like a carcass of a crow almost.
Yeah.
And so the whole point of the game is you go around this town and you solve these little puzzles, and you get currency to then dress your avatar, which is this undead bird.
Yeah, like you get to
Wow.
make organs.
That's messed up.
There's like customization as well. So I was at putting on antlers, or you could do little piercings or something. But it has a very it's the kind of puzzle solving game that I really enjoy. So Assemble with Care is one of my favorites. Us Two did that. It's Apple Arcade. Florence, I guess, as
Oh,
well.
yeah, sure.
In that storytelling meets tactile, and I really love that kind of interaction. And I think Little to the Left had that same kind of puzzle solving.
Absolutely.
Where you feel a real, I know it's video games, so forgive me, but it's like the interaction with the game itself, with the stuff that you're seeing, and you can actually feel a change that you're working towards. And so the puzzles that were in Birth, the one that I was doing, like I was in a coffee shop, and there was one of those creatures, and they wanted a cup of coffee, except it wasn't coffee that you'd serve them. The menu was like eyeballs and spiders, teeth, other stuff. And so I had to make essentially a cappuccino out of teeth and spiders and then serve it. And then they were happy and gave me an
Sounds like a good
eyeball. And
Lovely.
it
Beautiful.
was super.
But it's not as grotesque as
It's not
sounds.
grotesque.
It's the art style is very
it's cute
very
eyeball
fun.
copy,
Yeah.
as opposed to gross eyeball
Exactly.
copy.
And
Yeah,
I did that, and they were so happy they gave me a bone.
There
I
you
got like
go.
a shin bone.
Yeah.
So no,
Lovely.
and a bunch of these games are coming out. Birth is coming out next month.
Yeah. They're all
Yeah.
pretty far along.
Nice.
Did you play Shim?
That's the little frog.
Yes.
Yeah.
That one's so fun. You play as a little frog and you jump around, but the only way you actually progress through the area is you jump in the shadows of things.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So like if an old woman's like slowly walking by, you have to jump in her shadow, and that's how you progress to the next side of the stage. This is a really fun
awesome.
art
Yeah,
game.
it was very. And a lot of the games did have just simple inputs, but very satisfying, either puzzle solving or progression. And I love Day of the Devs for it. And I went on Steam. I should have been working, but I was like, and front page placement, and I just went and wishlisted all of them
Yeah.
because they're all just so.
Because Next Fest is on right now as well, I think, or maybe it starts soon.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow it starts, yeah.
Tomorrow.
So that's always awesome. Just
Yeah.
most of what you described probably will have a demo.
Which
up.
I'm very excited about because it'll be way after. But a game that I'm producing is debuting
Oh,
at
hello.
Next
Hey.
Fest.
Which one is that one?
It's called Elsie,
Okay.
and it is a roguelike pixel Mega Man X type game.
yeah, sure.
And
I'll play that.
it's
Hell
very
yeah.
exciting.
Cool.
Yeah, no one. You're the first people I've told that I'm producing it.
Oh,
so
there you go.
the trailer will debut. It'll have my logo and everything.
Nice.
So
Wow.
Congratulations.
yeah,
That's
it's going to
a
be
big
really
thing.
exciting.
Well done.
Yeah, it's me and Platonic teaming up together. to
That's
produce the
sick.
game.
That is
Incredible!
so cool, man.
Congratulations!
Yeah, thank you.
So
Also,
exciting.
podcast exclusive.
I know, right?
Yeah,
It's
there you go.
right here.
Getting the scoop.
Make sure you give us the credit, okay?
Yeah.
Game rant, okay? You heard it here on the Friends Per Second podcast, okay? All right, guys, what was next? Oh, the one I'll shout out quickly that I played was at the show, but I didn't play it there because I played it earlier. Was Metal Hellsinger. It's that first-person shooter that's like a rhythm game. It's fantastic. I dropped a good 4 hours into the demo at home because I got early access to it. And it's a shooter first and then a rhythm game. Because I think something like BPM, which you guys, any of you play BPM?
Yes, I loved BPM.
Sure.
I gotta know how it's different because you said it was very different.
Vastly different. Because BPM ultimately is you are the percussion instrument that powers BPM.
Yeah.
And you cannot do anything off the beat, right? You try and shoot your gun when you're off the beat, nothing happens, right? So it's quite demanding in that regard, but it also gives you a lot more flexibility because you can weave in 8 times. No, instead of just the normal 4/4 time, you can just reload extra fast, and it's sick. I love it. Anyway, Metal Hellsinger is different because you can shoot off the beat, but you do less damage when you do so, and you lose your multiplier, right? Also, there isn't the same focus on you being this percussion instrument. So it sounds cool when you shoot your shotgun to the beat, but you're not the backing of the track. The track is the star in Metal Hellsinger, versus you are very much the star in BPM. Having said that, it's a vastly more refined shooter. It's a proper shooter this time, versus BPM, which was very basic and it was a roguelike as well. This is all linear levels that had reused assets from other video games because they were doing it on the cheap, and that's why it had that red or green filter across it to try and create some visual consistency. Versus Metal Hellsinger is a proper ass video game with all unique assets and whatever. So it's a real standout. It's coming out September, I think, and I really loved it. Even before I met the dev, I was like, "This rules," and I met him. I'm like, "Dude, you made a really cool video game." And he's like, "Thanks, man. That means so much." And I'm like, but everyone who he met was saying, "Dude, this rules." So really, I think something to put on everyone's radar. And the demo is out for that now as well. So, was there anything else you guys played at the play days? Anything that really stood out? I think that was most things, right?
I think so.
Cool.
I played the Lego Brawlers game.
Yeah, I played that too.
Okay.
Oh, how's
That
That was on mobile first, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It feels a little bit like a mobile game to an extent.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's got 8-player local and online.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
Sure.
Good for kids.
Good
Definitely.
for kids. Yeah, I think it's being published by Ben and Namco
Yeah.
in
I'm pretty
conjunction
sure.
with Warner Brothers and
Yeah.
Lego. It was fun.
Sure.
Andrew and Renee and I played it together, and it was
Right.
it was a fun time. I was surprised with how much fun I had. I thought it was
Yeah.
going to be a lot less fun.
Right. Okay.
The combat is very easy. Just
Sure.
press one button to jump, one button to shoot, and there's a dash. But yeah.
I played the HD kind of remastered versions of Klonoa.
Oh yeah, that's
which
right.
I loved those games when I was
cool.
younger.
Yeah, me
So
too.
it's Klonoa 1 and 2, and it's just a little nicer, a little cleaner. The colors pop a lot harder. It's been so long since I played it. That was an old Blockbuster game back in the day.
Yeah.
Sure.
So it's incredibly simple. I was like,
Like
wow.
Battle in
It's
Wonderworld.
jump.
simple?
It's I forgot. It's like Kirby. It's you instead
got
of sucking things, it's you just take a thing and
Yeah.
then throw a thing.
Sure.
But it's so bouncy and the vibe and the atmosphere and the music. It's just it hits, and it is coming to all the platforms, but also Switch, and I think that just makes a hell of a Switch game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The thing was that Samsung TVs are going to have an app now.
Oh,
I didn't get to play
dude.
it.
I get to
I
do
didn't
it.
I didn't
you
actually
did?
get to
Yeah.
play it.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's really cool. I'm skeptical of all of those things. I'm not a big streamer.
Just to be clear though, this is Samsung has an app that allows
Yes.
you to access Game Pass basically. So you don't need a console, you don't need a dongle, you don't need anything.
Yes.
You have a Samsung TV, but it's only 2022 models and onwards.
No.
Yeah.
I know, right?
I
That
got
is
2018.
lame. I have
Buy
a
a brand
very
new
expensive
TV.
Samsung TV, and I'm not allowed to. But then again, I already have an Xbox.
I have an
But
LG.
whatever. But the point is, that's kind of dodgy. But anyway, you were saying, sorry.
So it's also they have this whole gaming hub thing
They do,
now where
they
it's
do.
it's actually prioritized in the smart TV menu where this stuff is boring. Smart TV interfaces who cares? But with Samsung being the biggest brand and in everybody's living room, it is significant.
Of course.
So this whole hub thing will also let you access other streaming services. It'll have GeForce Now and
Yep.
stuff. So
Stadia, I saw.
yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
So it's just all of that seems pretty key, and then the Xbox thing is just it's on the one hand for me it's nice because I'm kind of in that ecosystem, so another option,
Sure.
cool, tight, sick. But also the fact that I think it's going to be really cool for casual folks.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like the Netflix of games thing, when people talk about the Netflix of games, right? You think endless list of video games to choose from. But I really think it's not that. I think it's accessibility. And the fact that this is just so easy to get to, and you can pair, they let you pair a DualShock, certain third-party controllers, an Xbox controller, whatever you want to your TV, and play this.
I mean, I have 4 brothers, and 3 of them play games. One of them doesn't. He would never buy a console, but he likes like Tony Hawk, for example, right?
My man.
And I could be
Man
like,
of taste.
and if he had a Samsung TV, I could like gift him a month of Game Pass and give him an old controller, and boom, he can play Tony Hawk. It's not on Game Pass, but if it was, he could play Tony Hawk. You know what I mean?
I think of my dad. My dad's not a gamer, but my dad, like, he's like, I just bought a new Samsung TV. Look how cool it is. And he just like plays with the settings and tweaks around. So I'm imagining him stumbling upon something like Flight Simulator and being like, oh, this is cool. So yeah, I think it's pretty significant. It also, again, I'm super skeptical. I'm not into the streaming thing, but it plays well. It looks great. Like I did Halo Infinite, and snapping the targets, moving the right stick around like crazy, and it felt good.
Nice. Yeah, cool. All right, so that was Playdays. That was the thing. It was nice. And then obviously after that, well, it was actually before this, we actually had the Summer Games Fest showcase, which was the webinar that we all saw. Jeff Keighley took to the stage for what was about an hour presentation, if I'm not mistaken.
Hour and a half.
It was about that. Yeah.
It was 2.
Oh,
It was 2?
Time flies when you're
It
having
was
fun.
2.
It was
You're right.
11 till 1.
I'm thinking of future games as well.
Yeah.
Yes, so it was 2 hours. So we'll go through and just talk about some of the key items that really jumped out.
Yeah.
I know that there was an Aliens game revealed. It's called Aliens Dark Descent.
Yes.
And we only saw like a very snippet.
A real bait and switch for that one.
I know, right?
I thought it was a sequel to the one that was just released, the 4-player shooter.
Yeah,
but
Fire
no.
Team Elite.
Yeah, but then they showed that at the very end, a little bit of gameplay, top-down gameplay, and I was like, no, wait, that's the kind of like that's what I like. Like,
Okay, sure.
So I'm excited, but
I'm keen for that as well. But at the same time, I felt like that trailer set up some bad expectations. Because I was like, oh, is this Colonial Marines?
I did feel, I don't know why they try to evoke the alien claustrophobic feel, and I don't think maybe I'm being a little snobbish, but I didn't think the actual render looked that
No, I agree. And the writing was so not good. Like, it was like really not alien level. I don't know. Aliens dropped off a lot, let's say.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to be an Alien fan. But no, when I saw that and I was watching it, I kind of went to myself, don't be alien.
I saw the 20th Century Fox.
I was like,
oh, it's Alien.
As soon as I saw like one of the helmets, I was like, okay,
we've suffered enough.
So there's one game. There was an Aliens versus Predator game that was like for like PS2 type generation that was top down, and you could play as various, like you could play as aliens, predators, colonial marines, and it was top down, and it was so much fun. Like going through and like raiding and like taking out all the eggs and like so I'm like, please be like that. It probably won't be, but
I'm intrigued by it. I think we've seen the first and third person aliens done to death at this point, so I'm intrigued to see a different take on it.
Yeah, definitely. So there was that. This was actually kind of the show for sci-fi horror.
Yeah,
I feel there was so many of them.
Lots of space,
as evidenced by Callisto Protocol,
the Big Daddy.
We got a new trailer plus like. It was actually the same trailer as before, but expanded.
The Schofield cut.
The Schofield cut.
Yeah.
I asked him about that. He was like, I didn't name it.
All right, sure. So gory, but so awesome.
Yeah.
Like I don't like that is easily one of my most anticipated games at this point. Every time I see it, it completely blows me away.
In the show notes, you've written a trailer so violent, I can't even show it on YouTube.
That's right. If you showed, there's this thing where it's like, so you get someone's face and you chop it off at like an angle from like the chin up to like here.
It's insane.
And just like, and I'm like, that will get demonetized like the old Mortal Kombat videos did.
Yeah.
Like when I reviewed Mortal Kombat.
Totally.
And after that, YouTube kind of cleaned up its game, and I haven't been demonetized for video game violence since.
Yeah.
But it put the fear of God in me, and I was like, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
But it looks just absolutely spectacular, and it's such a fairy tale story as well, because these are the people that made the original Dead Space.
Yeah.
They went through the ringer with EA, and now they're on the other side of it with their own studio, making their own like Dead Space sequel in all but name. You know, so it's cool.
Yeah, and like the mechanical additions even seem cool. Like some of like the melee combat, as much as it might look just simple and clunky, like that's how it should be. I think like it fits with this style of game. And then like also like the weight of the character, the ka-chunk of them walking thing,
Yes.
especially when it cuts to the second part of the playthrough with his armor, which I thought looked incredible.
Yeah.
With using the environment and throwing people in fans, like
Yeah,
I'm really like I sound like a broken record at this point, but it's a video game where it's just like a third person survival horror, crazy budget thing you want, and it feels nice to say that and be like, fuck yeah. Like,
it's crazy to think that we're gonna get that into the year, and then a couple months later we're getting Dead Space.
Actually,
yeah.
I wonder if there was a kind of not back and forth, but like both of those teams just playing chicken to see who's gonna go first. And then they said, Dead Space remake is early next year, and Callisto Protocol like, we're getting it out. We're gonna be December, guys. We've got to get it
I hope
out.
it's ready.
I didn't expect us to have Callisto Protocol this soon. Actually,
Me
I don't know.
either.
Like,
Yeah.
They've been doing it for 3.5 years.
That is not much time.
Okay.
To make a game that looks that good,
Yeah.
that is not much time at all.
Well,
so
once they were unshackled from the PUBG universe, I guess they're better off now. I keep
that
forgetting
is
about
so,
that.
I just totally forgot about
Yeah.
that. You're
Yeah.
right. That is
Yeah.
so what?
Yeah.
Sorry, what?
So
Yes.
it was
It's a
initially,
publisher.
Yes,
it was
exactly.
initially because of the publisher stuff. It's the publisher of PUBG. So they were like, this actually takes place in the PUBG universe, the world of PUBG, and everyone was like, okay, dude. But they,
Callisto Protocol?
Yes. What? Exactly.
Yeah.
Where was I when I didn't hear this news?
executives doing cocaine, like it's just not.
The
Yeah.
PUBG U, whatever
Yeah,
they
it's like
call it.
so now it's not. That's more recent. They scaled back on that. They're like, no, it didn't make sense.
Well,
but he said that there's still like little
little nods.
references. So I'm like, what, a frying
Frying
pan?
pans?
Like,
Oh, God.
Yeah, there's a kitchen level and there's
Yeah,
frying
right,
pans.
yeah.
level.
Love
No,
it.
I asked him about that and he was like, yeah, we actually decided that like a year ago, but we
Okay.
realized that we hadn't told anyone, so we kind of had to just tweet it out.
It's like it was like an afterthought either way.
Yeah.
Like it's just like
Yeah. It's funny.
But there wasn't anything nefarious or anything he said. They basically said, can you put a story in, it can be in the PUBG universe, you can do whatever you want. And
Yeah.
then they made this story about a prison ship hundreds of years in the future. And then they were like, oh yeah, maybe this doesn't fit
Yeah.
with the PlayerUnknown's battlegrounds.
yeah, it's like Event Horizon. What does that have anything to do with
Yeah.
PUBG?
Yeah. So there was Call of Duty. Now,
Yeah.
does anyone here care about Call of Duty?
Yeah.
No,
Not
you do
anymore.
I pay $60 to play a campaign like a
for
chump.
8 hours.
Yeah,
play
and it's a good-
multiplayer for
and
20
it's a
minutes.
good
and be like,
time.
yeah.
And it's a good time every time. It sort of, kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I play them all. I don't know. It's like a silly little Michael Bay thing where
Sure.
I'm just like, I just want to play a video game where things blow up and
Was it a
What
video
it
game
did-
ass video game?
Is it? That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Did this like float your boat at all? Nothing. You got nothing out of this trailer.
I think it was because I liked Modern Warfare so much. I think it was like the shock of all the different like stories they told. Like some of like they like kind of pushed it a little. They went a little edgy in spots, and then this was just like Bravo
Do you think
6
2019
boat mission.
Modern Warfare?
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Now it's just very much like, all right, raid on a boat. It's like we've done that like 1,000 times
Yeah,
already in these
I
games.
agree.
The only thing is like the cool boat physics. Like that was cool, but nothing really. We didn't even get to see
Can I ask you a
price.
question, Jim?
Yeah.
You play all the Call of Duties?
Yep.
Do the stories like have substance to them?
Yeah, one of them did. One of them I cried. The space one.
Advanced Warfare.
Yeah,
The
that
one with Jon Snow.
yes,
Yes.
that
Everyone
had
says that actually.
that was like compelling.
Yeah.
like actually real good stuff. But no, other than that, I forget them immediately.
Sure.
Yeah.
Whenever I play those games, I'm like, I don't know anything about it. It just feels
I
like
know
I'm
what you
playing
mean.
the same game over and over
Yeah.
and over again. And I don't know if it's just my ignorance or I just don't know.
I would say Black Ops was the one for me where I was like, oh, I'm
They did
all
cool
in
stuff.
on
Yeah.
Mason and the numbers and
Cold War and then the
Co-
future. Like
Reznov,
yes.
because Gary Oldman was there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah. So
there was a
so we
Kevin
remember
Spacey one.
things.
I remember like parts of it,
Kevin
but
Spacey, Jon Snow, Gary Oldman,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
in the Call of
Kiefer
Duty.
Sutherland.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah, they're
Fits.
probably Ice-T. No, Ice Cube was in one of them.
Snoop Dogg did a voiceover pack.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, man.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I look at the engine and I'm like, this is such a great engine.
It's amazing.
This is such a
Gorgeous.
cool
Yeah, it's
looking
really
video
good.
game,
Yeah.
you know.
Smooth.
And like, if you gave that engine to another studio who make a really serious military shooter,
Yeah.
like I keep talking about Spec Ops: The Line, but with the Modern Warfare 2019 engine,
Yeah.
that would be sick. That would
Yeah.
be super cool. Give that to a spin-off. Like, I don't know, maybe Sledgehammer Games can make that now that they're not like pumping out COD every year. You know what I mean? But COD itself, I'm like, yeah, it exists and cool. I mean, yeah, I guess I'll play it to do the review. Maybe if I could be bothered. Like, I didn't review Vanguard, for example. You know what I mean? Just feel nothing about that series. So,
Did any of you play Warzone?
I played a little bit of it. I liked it. It was
Yeah, at
good.
launch it was really cool.
Sure.
I haven't
Did it
jumped back
launch?
in, but
Yeah.
No,
Not your jam.
I respect it.
Sure.
Yeah.
But to me, it's Madden. It's
Yeah.
it's FIFA, right?
I'm part of
Like,
the problem. Part of the problem.
It's that $60 a year commitment for people.
Yeah.
One time a year. I'm so happy for everyone at home who gets to experience it.
Sure.
But every time I play it, I'm just like, I want there to be something for me, but
Yeah.
I think I'm just more of like the Borderlands, like Dishonored.
Sure.
Like when I play an FPS game, like I have to feel like the person I'm controlling has a reason to kill. Like even Doom Eternal and Doom, like those games are so fun because you're like, it is scary, but there is even Doom guy feels more compelling than than Ramirez. I'm picking a name out of a hat, like I don't know.
That was
Definitely,
actually-
like, it's definitely a Ramirez, 100%. So, okay, all right. Do you guys remember this Witchfire game? Do you remember
Yeah.
Witchfire? That was
Yeah.
cool. That
Yeah.
was a first-person roguelike shooter they're talking about. I don't know, it just has a nice, cool style about it.
Yeah.
It has the kind of Destiny powers.
Guardian abilities. That's
Yeah.
what they were called. Guardians.
Were they? Or in Destiny?
Who were they? Guardians?
Yeah, they're
Okay,
Guardians.
good.
Eyes Up
Got it.
Guardian?
You want to learn more about Destiny? Do I
Don't.
can-
No, you're not. No.
But no, it looked nice, and I'm keen for that one. It's in
Yeah.
early access soon-ish.
Good.
Um,
I'm stoked because that's the Vanishing of Ethan Carter team.
Yeah.
I did not even know
Yeah.
that. Okay,
Yeah.
that is cool.
Very cool art style. The weapons are very like muskety.
Yeah,
Right.
totally,
Yeah.
totally. Okay, right. Then there was like two games that felt very similar. There was a game called Fort Solis, and then
Yes.
there was The Routine. And both of these were kind of like narrative-led sci-fi horror experiences. The one with the Fort Solis one has Troy Baker and Roger Clark as voice talent.
Yeah.
And The Routine, we just got like a snippet trailer. But we do know that Mick Gordon is doing the music.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
bold
sick.
to say Mick Gordon scored this game and then
No
play
music.
a trailer with no music
Trailer
in
with
it.
no music. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a choice. That was weird. That was a bit odd. And then The Rock made an appearance.
Oh my god.
Let's
Good
do it.
call,
Let's
that.
go. Let's
Can
go.
you take your shirt off and recreate
Yes.
that, please?
Yeah,
Can we make
please,
that
God.
happen right
Okay,
now?
so first of all, The Rock addressing us all with no shirt. Excellent. Cool. That's how you should do it. It's so funny. It felt like a cameo.
It
And
did.
It felt like
Jeff
felt like-
Keighley,
no,
Jeff
it
Keighley
felt like
paid
he
$100
just
for that.
Yeah.
Chop the watermarker.
Yeah, and he what was it for? Was
it was for Black Adam.
It was for
It wasn't
everything.
for Fortnite.
everything.
It was for Black Adam, but more specifically, it was for everything The Rock's been doing for the last
Yeah,
10 years.
yeah.
He talked about Project Rock with the Under Armour.
Yeah.
He talked about Zoa, his energy drink.
Yeah.
Terramana, his
He
tequila.
skipped Terramana. I was actually keeping a checklist.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think he
So
mentioned
he skipped
Terramana.
Terramana.
What about that TV show Young Rock or whatever? That
Yeah.
didn't get a
Didn't-
mention?
he
yeah,
didn't talk
no.
about Young
Young
Rock.
Rock.
And then he talked about Black Adam.
Yeah.
Oh, and he
uh,
mentioned Fortnite because he's
he
in
did,
Fortnite.
Yeah, he
Fortnite,
did. Yeah,
Fortnite.
Is this the
Foundation.
Foundation or something? Which
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
cool.
funny, the Foundation, because it's like he's The Rock, but then his fantasy name is
I get it.
Foundation.
I
Oh
get
my
it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very clever. Very
Yeah.
clever.
And he did it all from Iron Paradise, which
Yeah.
is his
Sure.
portable
gym,
he
which is
takes
so
everywhere with
awesome.
Wait,
him.
is that a
Yeah.
thing? He has a portable
It's-
gym.
Yeah.
That room,
That whole gym
folds
comes with
and
him.
it goes wherever he goes.
Yeah.
That's so fucking lame. You
Oh.
don't need to carry a gym with you
That's
wherever
not
you
lame
go.
at all. He
There
has
are other
to-
gyms you can go to
No.
that are fine.
Other
Nope.
gyms are available.
You need
Oh.
to look like that. That's what you got to do.
When you're shooting 15
Yeah.
hours a day,
Yeah.
Shooting what? Sorry.
I'm also pro The Rock, so
All right,
I'm
now
also-
that's
You'll
why you
learn.
defend.
I'm also
No,
Team
he-
Rock.
He has
Okay,
to
good.
have
Yeah.
a cargo container full of equipment with him wherever he goes.
Yes.
All
if
right,
I meet The
absolutely.
Rock, I will implode.
Right.
Yeah.
He's
Okay.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fair
Tears.
but like maybe don't do that again, Dwayne. Enjoy your gaming. That was the best part.
Enjoy your gaming.
Clip that.
Your
That's right,
gaming.
that's right. There was we got a little bit of information about the next thing, or the first thing I should say, from Frost Giant Studios.
Yeah.
These are the guys that used to make the RTS games at Blizzard, and then Blizzard stopped making RTS games, So then they're like, well, I guess we're leaving. And then they made their own studio called Frost Giant. They revealed their first project. It's called Stormgate.
Yep.
Yes.
And it had a really big cinematic trailer that was like, all right, cool, don't know what this is until the end. Or it's like, oh, okay, now it's an RTS. Showed like 2 screenshots. Any thoughts on this?
I interviewed.
That's right.
I interviewed him. The director. They have a lot of money.
Oh, okay.
It's almost $40 million worth of investment.
Whoa.
For the
Ooh,
company.
from who?
Cool.
I didn't ask.
Sure.
But it was reported it was like
From the guy we met at the bar the other night.
Oh.
We had this bloke that keeps coming up to us, keeps at the bar. He's like, I got $100 million to invest, man. Who wants it? Who wants it? We're like, go away. We don't like you.
No,
we don't want your weird money.
Because I was like, let me get around, guys. And then I went up to the bar, and Callie came with us, and he was like, ladies, what are you drinking? And I was like, well, no, I'm getting around. You don't have to do all that. And then he was like, I'm in VC.
Oh my God.
He
did
said,
not say that.
I'm in VC.
I would be like Vice City.
I was like, Vancouver?
He was going around.
No.
He was going around to groups trying to make friends, and I said to him,
felt
I said to him,
bad.
listen, man, if you want to get in with this crowd, you know what you got to do? You got to say you're really into NFTs. That's the thing.
That's
man.
it.
This crowd
That's
right
it.
here, they will love that.
Yeah.
You're best friends with everybody
I'm in
at that
VC
point.
NFTs,
That's
baby.
right. That's right. Anyway, how do we get onto this topic? $40 million for
$40 million.
Stormgate?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was reported it was 17 million, and then I brought up the interview, and he's like, it was actually almost 40. We're like, oh wow, that's a lot of money.
Sure.
But at the time that I interviewed him, I didn't know what the game looked like.
Right.
I didn't see any trailers, so I had to just make generic questions. But if you go watch the interview on the X-Play channel, yeah, I mean, the thing that I got from him and the team is that, like, they really got treated poorly at Blizzard. They really are passionate about RTSs. A lot of the team that they brought with them to Stormgate to Frost Giant Studios are people who dreamed of working on StarCraft, and they got to finally do it, and then it came out the way that it did. So, and they're really focused on community-driven content. So it feels like they're really taking their time with this, and they really want to make sure they're getting it right, and they're paying attention to their Discord and their subreddits, and so I think it's going to be fun, especially if you like RTSs.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. There was American Arcadia, which looks like the Truman Show, but a video game, which
Yeah.
was
Cool.
kind of nice.
Yeah, I'm about it.
Yeah,
It's
you were
definitely-
really keen on that one.
Yeah, I just like stuff like that, like, linear, like you're running from left to right,
Yep.
2.5D. I'm pretty sure the gameplay is gonna have a little bit more than that. It might have like first-person segments to it.
Yeah.
That's really it.
Yeah, cool. Goat Simulator 3.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right, so apparently,
The bit
and I
was
was like,
good.
when I heard it, I'm like, man, I must have missed 2. I was like, did I just fall out of the news cycle?
There
But,
is
like,
no 2.
There is no 2. Goat Simulator 3 was a cool trailer. Everyone thought it was Dead Island. It wasn't.
It was a
And then-
perfect parody of Dead Island.
Oh, it was-
It was a shot for shot
Yeah.
remake, the same song.
I've seen that trailer so many damn times. I don't know why. But yeah, I was able to go, wow, this is exactly it.
I was
That's
like,
so
ooh,
funny.
the graphics look a little bit down.
Yeah. Oh, downgrade. Yeah.
Well, and they definitely even Jeff just was like,
A long awaited
Oh,
game
the
returns.
wing.
"Long way the game returns," and you might, you watch out for the bite of it, right?
Yeah.
And you saw like, oh, goats, they eat everything.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Sure. So that was cool. And then we got a cinematic trailer for Midnight Suns, which, okay, here's the thing, right? I hear that it's been kind of like not rebooted, but like some stuff has happened in the back to like overhaul some part of the game, like the card system was really unpopular. They didn't show any gameplay or provide any update on that, but apparently you actually went and saw
No, not me.
Oh, wait,
games. The royal you.
Oh, the
GameSpot.
royal you
yeah,
did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Can
there's
you tell us
gameplay
anything?
online.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Do you any insight into that? Like, what's the
No,
deal?
I missed it because it was it kind of came. The embargo, I think, broke mid-summer Game Fest,
Right,
and so
right.
I haven't had a chance. I love XCOM 1 and 2.
Sure.
I think the team of Firaxis are very talented. I am suffering a lot of Marvel burnout at the moment,
it's very
and so I'm intrigued by Midnight Suns because I want it to be a fresh take and, not the characters that I'm seeing all the time, except that trailer ended with, like, here's Doctor Strange in this outfit. And I was
Yeah.
like, no.
Pre-order today.
Pre-order now, but I'm interested to see how it goes down.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it feels like a weird one in a
Yeah,
in a
I like
way.
the fact that they're using a very different roster, like, because the MCU is very much like, it's Thor and Cap and whatever, but this is just like,
Blade,
hey,
Ghost Rider.
correct.
Like the
Wolverine.
real Doctor Strange,
Yeah.
Wolverine.
all these characters. And I'm like, all right, that's a cool angle. I'm in on that. you
Yeah.
know?
Venom becomes more evil.
Yeah.
Hulk becomes more evil.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
yeah. So I'm
Spider-Man
like-
is there.
I will say though, the score in that in that trailer was incredible. And
What
I
was the
like,
song they used?
So they used Master of Puppets, which
Oh, no,
is
no.
like
That's right. Yeah.
No.
funny for Rax's title. I don't know. I just like giggled,
But
but
also, we were in the room and like, that trailer came on, and you could just tell everyone on our video team just went, "Oh,
Yeah.
come on,
Yes. Yeah.
Metallica!"
That
but
is-
the actual like score, once it just turned to like the game's
Yeah.
actual like theme or whatever, I was like, this sounds better than a lot of recent like Marvel movie themes. I'm like, damn, cool. I'm still pretty interested. The card system thing was kind of a turnoff for me too, but
Sure.
They've reworked it.
I'm like obligated to check it out because Blade and Wolverine are in it. So
That's a good reason.
yeah.
There was a little indie game called Neon White. Do you guys remember seeing this one? It's like a runner where you burn cards to like
Oh
from
yeah.
Annapurna Interactive.
Yeah.
It had just like a really cool thing going
Cool
on. I was
vibe.
quite interested in that one.
Mirror's Edge a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Kind of like Mirror's Edge meets Slay the
Persona
Spire.
and
It's like,
cards, yeah.
which is a really weird combination. There was the Star Rail Honkai, like the new MiHoYo stuff, Zenless Zone Zero.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm not into that stuff, but obviously that's
No.
going to take over when it arrives
Mhm.
because that just has all
Genshin
the
Impact
whatever.
money, baby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy
Genshin
insanity.
Mhm.
There was Nightingale. Now, Nightingale
Yes.
is a survival game from a newly formed studio made up primarily of ex-BioWare developers.
Yes.
We got a new gameplay trailer. It was the first gameplay we saw. I think it looks great.
I'm very into it.
Very into the setting. Very into the. I'm enjoying survival games more and more these days, and this one has a really nice kind of background to it. But also, yeah, there's other stuff coming with this that I like spoke to the team about. They're not really talking about publicly yet.
Mhm.
I'm not talking about it publicly because whatever, it's not my
No.
thing. But like, there's some really interesting ideas going into this game that
Mhm.
really pique my interest about how they're approaching the survival genre. And
Yeah.
I'm very keen to see that because I think we're still waiting for the perfect survival game, right?
Yeah.
It's just it still feels like it's a long way off yet, but from some of the
I
ideas
thought it was
that-
Valheim.
No, I don't quite think. I'm really interested in the
liked
kind
it,
of like
but-
Almost.
yes, exactly,
Yeah.
almost, right? And I think some of the ideas that Nightingale is bringing to the table really for me kind of bring it to that, I don't know. So again, I don't want to talk too much about it, but I was very keen with what I was hearing about it, and it just looks super cool.
Just
So
like- What is it? It's not gas lamp fantasy is what they're calling
is
it.
that what it is?
That's what they.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like
Fantasy.
gas lamp
That is
fantasy.
a good way to
Yeah.
shorthand
So
it.
Yeah.
steampunky, but
Yep.
obviously with magic, and this fae in it.
Sure,
So
the Feywilds, yeah.
the Feywild, and no, just the way that the worlds are kind of created was so interesting. Like
Yeah,
you can basically
absolutely.
get cards, realm cards, and like make the biomes and make the
Oh.
I guess kind of the threats and what you'll expect to find when you
Yes.
get there. But the thing is as well is like there's not really any griefing. I guess it's like it's built on
PvE
trust.
only, it is, yeah.
And so you get to invite who you want in. So unless you get, do you remember Kermit the Frog in Destiny? Oh, do you remember when PlayStation 4 tried to do share play? And there was this kid who invited this random guy in from the internet. And the only reason I remember in my brain is because the guy's name was Kermit the Frog.
Right, okay.
And he went in and deleted this kid's
Oh, I
like
do
all
remember
the
that.
Destiny
That's so
characters.
terrible.
And the kid had the
So
little video and it
awful.
was him crying because he was losing all
Oh.
his Destiny stuff. And so anyway, moral of the story
It's
is
funny that you bring up that is a very
Yeah.
bleak story, like to bring up.
but,
Like,
but no, it's like
I'm so sad.
yeah, I know, right? We had
Yeah.
such a good vibe going. Look
Yeah.
what
but
you
then I'm
did.
saying it's like the heartbreaking, but trust. Be careful who you trust.
That's right.
Don't
Yeah,
trust
true.
Kermit the Frog online.
Very
Yeah.
true.
Similar in your survival
You're not
crafting
allowed
games.
in my Minecraft server. Stay away.
Stay out of my Christian Minecraft server.
It was the other thing. The next one was Dark Tides. Did you guys get a chance to play Dark Tides?
No.
Warhammer 40k Dark
No.
Tide. Oh, really?
Yeah,
God damn!
no, I know.
I played like 3 different hands-on sessions with it because I was like, I want to go back for more.
Yeah.
It is sick. It is super cool. I mean, and just like we saw some gameplay already. There's an embargo breaking. Well, a few days before this goes live, you'll see like lots of people upload gameplay. It is the real deal, man. It looks incredible. A lot of people were very concerned about how the ranged combat stuff would work because this is a studio very famous for its melee combat from Vermintide, and like I'm here to tell you, it feels fantastic. Like I had at no
Nice.
point did I ever feel like, oh, this shooting kind of
They know what they're
sucks.
doing.
Oh yeah.
They know what they're doing. Like the weapons are very strategic in their function. Like they have very deliberate rolls. The feedback is great. The
Okay,
ragdolling of enemies when you shoot them is sick. The soundtrack is cool. The mission design was good. Like the whole package was just really singing me out for me in a big way. So that's why, yeah, I kept going back. There are 4 different classes. They've got this cool hub thing, a progression, whatever. I think it's going to be a great package, and I'm really keen for it. And it's like out towards the end of the year sometime. That's on Game Game Pass day one as well, apparently.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I just assume everything's on Game Pass.
Yeah, that's
safe.
after this.
We're on Game
That's right.
Pass.
Breath of the
Yeah.
Wild 2, Game Pass day one. That's right. So yeah, definitely. We got some more Gotham. How are you guys feeling about Gotham Knights right now? Tell me.
Batman is dead.
Okay.
Batman is
Jeff Keighley
dead.
saying that.
Okay.
Oh man, that was so funny.
Oh, that Jeff's line. That's right.
Yeah, like,
I was like,
so
I was
happy.
like, why
So
are you
excited.
saying it like?
He
I was
was
like,
so
oh, yes.
happy.
it would have been really funny if he came out with one spotlight on and he was like, "Batman is dead."
We're gonna have to stop the broadcast, everyone. Batman is dead.
How are you guys feeling about Gotham Knights?
How much
at
time
this
do you
point?
I desperately want it to be good.
mhm.
It's been, I think Arkham Knight was 2015?
2016. I think?
2016?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like,
Been a
those
minute.
games are still fantastic, but I want more. I want another one.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued about the Bat family. There are definitely some decisions. Red Hood
Like-
jumping over the sea
that scene.
using the
Soul-
power of
soul
soul.
jumping, yeah.
Seeing like Mario, like
Yeah.
boing, boing, boing. Sure.
But you know, and like Batgirl, I guess will probably be the one who plays the most like Bruce if you want to go for that pure experience. But like for a Nightwing trailer, really not enough about his arse,
Yeah.
which is the whole
The whole thing.
thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think about that game just
Yeah.
yet.
Right.
There was something in the gameplay
It doesn't
trailer
look
they
as
released.
fluid as like what came before it and what
Yes.
it's like roughly based on.
It doesn't have the weight.
No.
Which is, I mean,
Sure.
that was the really good thing about the Arkham games is that like you could feel those punches, and whether that was sound or whether that was, you know, little subtle camera shakes or whatever.
Yeah.
Every punch had weight, and you felt like you were brawling. You felt like you were
Each
Batman.
enemy felt
Yeah.
each enemy reacted to the weight of each punch. You're like,
Yeah.
"Whoa." Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like a freight train in motion.
Yeah.
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 It
And
really
you know,
was.
and when you got those combos up, and it felt like you were flying.
Yeah,
you know,
it's like you could play it like a Tony Hawk game. Like
Yeah.
once you start like grooving around,
Yeah.
you just
Sure.
get that combo up to like 30. It's like crazy.
Yeah, and even in that the gameplay, the Nightwing Red Hood stuff from a few weeks ago, I was like, I'm not getting that yet. I'm not
Yeah.
getting the fluidity. I'm getting,
Mm.
oh, you know, some guy's trying to set off a bomb here, and you got to work together. But I
Yeah.
don't understand how working together is gonna feel good.
I'm really
know?
rooting for it, but it's like
Me too.
like
I'm-
it's the story stuff too, where like we got that little glimpse of like a cutscene at the Belfry where it's Dick Grayson, it's Jason Todd. They both look like Gears of War characters, and like whatever they were talking
Right,
about just
they
sounded
did.
like bullshit.
They really
So
did.
like I'm really like people are so excited about like the
Yeah.
fact that the Court of Owls are in it, the fact that it's like a mainstream Bat family thing. Like I really want it to be great, but I'm still very skeptical.
I don't know how to. Yeah, the Court of Owls stuff as well. Just given if you've read that run, just like
It doesn't
how
make sense.
ingrained
here.
it is in Batman's psyche
Yeah.
rather than the Bat family.
Yeah.
Is it weird that I'm more excited for Suicide Squad?
No, not at
No.
all. It's
Rocksteady,
Rocksteady.
dude. Absolutely
Yeah.
not. For
Yeah,
sure.
no.
I think as well, like the Rocksteady stuff, they'll have more fun because I mean
Yeah.
they've got the Suicide Squad. It'll be more fun,
Mm-hmm.
and whereas this is like, there's gonna be quips, there's gonna be jokes between all the characters. Like they are the family. I want it to be good. I hope it's
I
good.
feel really
Yeah.
bad for this team to follow in Rocksteady's footsteps. Like
After
that is like
Arkham
because those
Origins
guys
as
are
well.
master game makers.
Yeah, it's
that-
like
Yeah.
Patrick
For-
Redding and like who's
I
worked
mean,
on Splinter Cell,
Arkham Knight kind of looks as good as Gotham Knights does. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like you do a
yeah,
side by side
yeah.
comparison,
Yeah.
and in fact, artistically, I prefer Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
Obviously, technically, Gotham Knights is better, but not by much. You know.
Mhm.
And then obviously, combat wise, they just nailed it. So what an impossible task to try
Yeah.
and meet that. And look, from the looks of it, it looks like they're struggling. But I really think
They've
just
still
need to
got
get in.
polish time.
They got polish time, sure, but they just need to get into people's hands at this point because
Yeah.
right now the
Yeah.
narrative is maybe this sucks, and like if it doesn't, then let us play it, and we'll be like, actually, it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like let's change the narrative a bit. So, but yeah, look, the last thing, the Elden Ring moment for the show was The Last of Us
Ah.
stuff,
Which
right?
got
Yeah.
leaked before.
Which got
the
leaked
show.
before.
Yeah.
So
Why Sony? Sony did it to themselves.
yeah, they did actually. So that was not quite the king hit that previous show, Jeff Keighley hosted shows have had. However, there was some juicy stuff in there. For example, we know that Naughty Dog are working on a standalone multiplayer game. It originally began its life as an update to Factions, but then it kind of ballooned and it became he says, kind of like their most ambitious project yet, he says it's as big or bigger than any game they've made before. It has its own narrative that is delivered in a unique way. It's set in a new location with a completely new cast of characters. It's a big deal. And he says it's a live service game that's going to be supported into, perpetuity. And it's pretty crazy to imagine like Naughty Dog doing that. So
I'm interested to see their take on the it's multiplayer but with story. Like I feel like they maybe might have a different spin on it. And then Factions itself was just great. So the fact that they're like blowing it out, building it out, they realize how good it was is cool.
I've actually never played Factions. So this is going to be all new for me. I'm keen. I'm very keen. So I mean, on top of that, there was also the reveal. Oh, they also talked about the TV show.
Yeah.
Finally got to see their faces in it.
Yeah, seems like a big deal.
Yeah.
Which they look great.
They do, actually.
Really great.
I think Pedro Pascal's going to kill it.
Yeah, I
he's
suspect he will.
good.
Really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I mean, I actually have a lot of faith in Naughty Dog to do this well, because like if it's based on the first story, I didn't enjoy the second story, part 2, but I really like the first story, and if it's based around that, I reckon they're going to do a really great job of that. I'm going to be quite keen to watch it.
Who's the young girl from Game of Thrones?
Bella Ramsey.
Bella Ramsey.
Oh, she is. Oh, okay.
She's Lyanna Mormont.
Yeah.
Right.
It's very funny because like she looks like a young Ashley Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's the back. Like
that's
it's so weird to see that because.
Yeah.
And then when they obviously talked about The Last of Us Part 1 remake,
Sure.
they made both the main characters look more like the two of them.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
Yes.
they're trying to like retroactively unite things together.
That a lot.
I like it too.
I like it
too.
Yeah. Well, then that does. I mean, yes, they did announce officially The Last of Us remake, which was leaked earlier by Sony Store or whatever. It went up there, but it was leaked earlier before. But I think Jason Schreier got the scoop on that one, leaking its existence like forever ago. And we're all like, why is this a thing? Why does this need to exist? The PS4 version is fine. But, it's here and it looks better. Don't get me wrong.
Hey,
And
the thing, it looks great, but does it play great?
Well, I mean, it's going to play the same, right?
No, they're rebuilding the...
They rebuilt
Apparently,
it. So
they're
it's
rebuilding the combat from
artificial
the ground up.
intelligence and combat specifically.
Because I don't think... I've said this before, I'll say it again. I don't think Naughty Dog really figured out how to make shooting feel good until Lost Legacy and Uncharted 4.
Sure.
So,
Which they cited as their inspiration to go back and redo the combat.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
If like I can move and do things as Joel, how Ellie did in 2, that's pretty fun. That
agree.
warrants a replay.
Yeah.
I just replayed it, so that's why I'm a little
Sure.
like, do we really need this? Because it's still good.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it's enough
it's
to change
good,
it.
but it could be better.
But it could be better. $60.
Well, no, it's actually the like $70 minimum for that,
Yeah.
and the most expensive
Stop
version is
it.
$99. Yep.
Stop it.
The pre-order stuff and the special edition stuff. I don't usually get into this stuff, but it's very interesting because a lot of it is like you get better shit earlier in the game.
Right.
You get more like revolver capacity. You get fire arrows or explosive arrows earlier in the game, and I'm like, ooh,
Just as the creators would have intended.
it's like we're gonna break the
right.
game a little bit
Sure,
here. So
sure.
we'll see how that actually pans out. But yeah,
Sure. So I mean, that was really the show overall. Like, what did you guys think of that showcase then? Like, if you had to give it a score, like an A, B, C, D, where would you put it?
I don't score. I don't do scores.
Oh, here we go. Listen to
Yeah,
that.
scores.
Unbelievable. Oh, let's all do that then. No, none of us are going to
yeah,
give
that's
scores
fine.
then.
Yeah, no.
We'll just sit here arms crossed.
Yeah.
That's
No,
right.
I'd say it was like in the middle.
Okay. So like, as in, because it was, what was it missing for you?
I wanted a little bit more new stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
I mean, Jeff, to his credit, did try and temper expectations.
He did. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. Callisto for
Good
me
updates.
was the thing that I cared about, and they got it out of the way early. So there was definitely a sag in the middle of the show for me, and I did expect the just one more thing to be bigger.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'd give it like a B minus just because most of the games that were featured were not for me, but they definitely piqued my interest way more than I expected to. Especially things like Street Fighter 6, especially Callisto Protocol. What was the game? American Arcadia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That game was like,
Yeah.
I immediately thought of like the freaking Weird Al Yankovic Beverly Hills Billy music video that parodies
Oh,
that
wow.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the
yeah.
animation style,
Yeah.
really creepy, uncomfortable,
Yeah.
3D vibe.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it was really exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It was fun.
Yeah, I'm like on the same page really. I mean, I
Yeah.
think it was like a B. I liked it. I think it was lots of gameplay for games I want to play.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line for me. It was pretty like free of cringe. and like
Yeah.
awkward ads. Like it did have some ads in there as well, but I never have a problem. I reckon Jeff gets pretty beat up for that. He's got to pay the bills. He's doing what he can.
Yeah.
Someone has
Like,
to pay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
So like I
expensive.
think he like got the balance right, whereas in other years past not so much.
Yeah.
I'm also
Um,
just pretty pro these presentations where like even if it didn't like have all these things that thrilled me, like cool.
Yeah.
I watched some new video games and
Totally.
like also this was a good one to kind of remind you about things. Like I was like, oh yeah, Midnight Fight Express, yes,
Yeah.
like stuff like that, like good
Yeah.
updates.
Yeah, that's very true, actually. Yeah. So then we basically had a day to chill out and do other things, and then we had the Xbox showcase, which was at 10 o'clock this morning. We were there in person, or at least Jake and I were, and Luce, you were live streaming it.
I was
You
hotel,
were hotel doing the
pre-post
thing.
show.
I was on my way, and there was an accident on the freeway.
Oh no!
And I was
No.
delayed, and I got there, and they wouldn't let me in.
What?
No.
So I just turned around and went home.
That's what the hell! You should have told us. We would have got you in.
That's fine. I at that point it was a waste of time because I
Yeah.
already had like
Right.
it was
What a
it was
bummer.
more than like halfway over, and I was like, I'll
Sure.
just go home.
They were like,
So-
sir, the doors must stay closed. You'll
Yeah,
ruin the
yeah.
illusion.
Yeah. Phil is speaking
You
now.
can't let the souls out of the room.
Yeah. But it opened with Redfall, which was the very first time that we've seen
Yeah.
gameplay for it officially, because there was gameplay leaked earlier. But that didn't really do the rounds, actually. That really was quite contained, I found. But gameplay was out, big, long trailer. First half being very kind of like slow and ambient and immersive. And then the second half is just like balls to the wall crazy, co-op shooter action. Interested to hear your reactions to it, because I think it's very different from what anything that Arcane has made in the past. Big jump. What do you guys think? Gerard, what's your take?
When the trailer started, I kept thinking like, this girl's talking too much throughout it. Like she, obviously,
right.
like the character
Oh,
was
that
like
A real
demo
Aloy
thing.
moment?
Yeah, it was
Sure.
very much like I just want to see where are we going.
Yeah.
And then like once the gameplay started, I was like, oh, okay, like this is. I think Ralph, you and I talked about it when we first hung out a couple days ago, which is like, I hate when demos like purposely take their time to pan the camera to show you the atmosphere as opposed to like just play the game, because like I'm gonna go back and watch the trailer anyways and see it. And it definitely had the thing of like, whoa, this is a church. What's over here? That's a dead body, and there's a jump scare waiting. There's like a vampire
Yeah,
waiting
you
to
could
attack.
see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Where's
it's
your
like,
peripheral
it's like,
vision?
oh, and then like panning up, looking deadpan at it, and then like going this way, dead body on the floor, and I was
Yeah.
like, I just wanted to see it in motion.
Yeah.
So once we got past that initial spark, I started to enjoy it a lot more.
Sure. Yeah, right. Cool.
There's something about the vampires that are pretty cool. Like the way they float is very unnerving. The way they're lanky is very unnerving. It's just like they looked. I think you said it earlier when we were talking. They're a little spongy.
Yeah.
Mm.
And they don't really react when they get
Yeah,
shot. They kind of
yeah.
just like, hey, I can take it. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
where-
And you're like, well, that's what real vampires
would take it. Yeah, take a shot like no problem. But on the other hand, you have the
Project Jerk.
you have the PvP stuff, not PvP. Humans versus human stuff, which seems way more like, okay, Arcane,
Sure.
this is like
Yeah.
their thing.
Yeah.
And the way they cut the trailers is so cool. Like they show all the move sets working perfectly, jumping in the air, crack shot. I'll never be able to play the game like that,
Yeah.
but it's cool to see it all in motion.
Yeah.
Sure.
The arcane Leica has logged on.
Yeah, sure.
I think it's very
I'm
difficult.
with you.
I think it's very difficult to showcase a game like that because, and Tam and I interviewed Harvey Smith earlier today about it, and we were talking about the fact that like an arcane game is really what you as the player bring to it, and so if you are a player, I am the slow. I've always said like I will never stream an arcane game because it would be miserable to watch me play because I look at everything and I try and discover everything and figure out every way I can achieve an objective. But at the same time, with a game like Redfall, where it has. You could see how you can make the comparisons to Borderlands, where it has the 4 different characters, and one of them has a robot, and they each have their own abilities and whatever. But to showcase how it can be sneaky, stealthy, you can do it by yourself or with other people, or then be all balls to the wall action with other people.
Yeah.
Because apparently, like if you're playing by yourself, the game doesn't fill in with AI. It's just your character.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Alright, yeah,
Cool.
sure.
But
Okay.
like, as it's an arcane game, and like they had this issue with Deathloop, is that sometimes I feel like they can be a bit too clever for easy marketing.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think they're always going to struggle with that because they're
Sure.
a very design first studio. But I'm very intrigued by Redfall. I am a vampire enjoyer.
Same.
I think in terms of like fiction, there are so many interesting and cool things you can do with vampires, and the way they're approaching their vampires is it's like, and I don't know, see the parallels between the real world, I guess, but it's like the 0.1%, you know, they suck the life and
Oh, I see.
resources
Yeah.
out of everything
yeah.
around them. They are so elite. They don't care about anyone else. They
That's
just
very
want to
Arcane
take.
as well.
Yeah, they just want to
Story
take.
modeling. Yeah.
And then
that's
you
true.
have the kind of level of sycophants who want to be
Course,
them.
yeah, sure.
And then you have, you have the kind of trying to rebuild and take back control. And like, I'm intrigued by all of it. When we were talking to Harvey earlier, and he was like, "Yeah, you can stealth it," and I was like, "Okay, I'm in."
Okay, good.
Well, you can
Yeah.
stealth the whole.
I don't know if I don't know if it's like the whole game
Sure.
or anything,
Or
but he
parts,
was
maybe.
he was
Yeah.
like, "There's definitely stealth stuff in there."
It's
and I
interesting,
was like,
yeah.
okay, that's
Good.
I'm down.
You know, you said something, Lucy, that I didn't even think about, and it's kind of like marketing for the game.
Yeah.
I think like when you think about Deathloop,
Yeah.
what a stylized game, right? Arcane with Dishonored and Dishonored 2, same thing. This, I didn't really know what the style was, because when I saw it, I was like, oh, it's Zombieland
Yeah.
tonally
Yeah.
mixed with
Yeah.
Arcane and vampires. But when you saw the vampires, they're very aggressive and very in your face. But also like the voice acting and the characters were very much like
Quirky.
like,
Yeah,
oh,
like-
whoa, vampires,
Yeah.
dude. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I didn't know if the voice acting and the art style and like what they were trying to do were like necessarily matching to what they were trying to tell me.
Yeah.
Because then the Redfall font was very much like Stranger Things and
Yeah,
it
like,
was.
like
Yeah.
1980s
Yeah.
horror. And
Yeah.
like, I didn't know whereas with Deathloop, it was very specific what they were going
Yeah, you
for.
got it.
And you bought it at every step of the way. It was very clear
Yeah.
what they were trying to do. And I think that's where now that I think about it more, I think that's where Redfall started to kind of fall apart for me.
So I'm very intrigued to see more of how. I just want to see some like straight gameplay. But one of my favorite things they did say is that one of the characters is like a content creator who just ends up in
no.
Redfall, like a paranormal
boy.
kind of guy.
Oh, boy.
No.
So I'm intrigued to see how that's handled. But I'm, it's Arcane.
Yeah, some of the
Arcane
stuff stuff is very like makes sense for them. Like the fact New England town. Oh, cool guys. I could see you guys
Yeah.
would go for that. The fact that like they said like, oh, the vampires blocked out the sun and they drained the harbor and there's just like a dry harbor. I'm like, yeah, you guys would do that.
Yeah,
Like,
you
it just
would,
feels
huh?
right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I personally, because I love Arcane as well, I wasn't like, okay, this is the thing, right? There's obviously the story of Arcane games and how they don't sell well. And I remember having a conversation with someone from Arcane years ago where, I don't know exactly what it was, but like obviously they made a decision to kind of move away from the immersive sim for which they were known, right? For a variety of reasons. I'm sure creatively they want to flex, but also commercially they're looking to get out there and do other things and, sell more copies of games. And like this clearly is going to have a much broader appeal than an immersive sim, whatever. And like, cool, that's great. And I also really love when studios are doing that flex thing where they try and make something totally different to their normal wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Because they would get bored making the same thing over and over again. But part of me just really, really wants that kind of game. Like I really want Prey 2, for example. That's it. And so do I really want them to make a co-op shooter like Arcane? Not really. I'm happy for other studios to do that because you guys can do this one thing so super well.
Yeah.
And I think I really am struggling. That's the part do I think this will be fun? Yes. And in particular, I think the co-op shooter genre hasn't really nailed like the whole abilities thing very well. It's very much about like 4 people with guns, generally speaking, right? And to think about Arcane and what they know how to, like what they can build in terms of ability sandboxes, and they will crush that. And I think it's going to be really unique in the genre. Cool. But at the same time, I'm also like, okay, I guess I'll play it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just wish you were making something else. So, but that's my personal take on it, and that's why I sort of wasn't as excited about it as I think a lot of other people are, because they seem quite happy with this gameplay.
Yep.
Like they're quite into it. So
What I kind of hope is that I hope Arcane have actually made just an immersive sim, but they're tricking everyone into playing it to bring immersive sims.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Let's go.
I wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the other thing, the next thing was Hollow Knight. Now you cannot believe they did this. They
Silksong,
literally
it exists.
gave us a trailer for Silksong, but no release date.
But it's within the next 12 months.
I mean,
12 months.
maybe.
Everything at the showcase.
That's what they said. 12 months.
They didn't even put a year though. Like it's like everything at least confidently. Every trailer confidently ended with something.
Or a date this year.
Yeah.
Except Silksong.
Didn't give you anything. It's like, okay.
So
guys.
that means that we just get mad at Microsoft when Silksong gets delayed.
It will get delayed. Like that's just that's their thing. That's what they do, and like that's fine. By the way, like they don't delay it, I guess, because they never announced a release date. But they're clearly taking their time, and I'm sure if they do want to delay it, they will.
By pandemic stuff.
Did they? I didn't know that.
Well, we asked Keely. We did like a 20 questions video with him, and we were like, "What have you heard about Silksong?"
Sure.
And he went, "Oh, we're always talking to people, but I heard they got hit pretty hard by pandemic. It was difficult, so."
Because Australia was like really locked down during the pandemic,
Yeah.
so I can understand why that made things tough. That would have made a lot of sense. So, one announcement that. So, was there anything else on that one? Did I miss anything? No. One announcement that was actually, I think, one of the biggest announcements of the whole show, but I think it's probably going to get underreported, is that like Xbox and Riot are like getting in bed together, and it's huge. This partnership. Okay, so if you are a Game Pass subscriber on PC, you will get access to the entire roster of League of Legends heroes and all the characters on Wild Rift, which is the mobile version, plus all the Valorant heroes, plus a whole bunch of cards in Legends of Runeterra, plus like whatever it is in Teamfight Tactics. I actually don't know anything about that game, so whatever. But that is like thousands of dollars worth of stuff if you bought it, or thousands of hours worth of grind if you just grinded for it, and you get all of that with Game Pass. That is insane. Like, that is the best value thing that has been added to that platform. And don't forget, like League of Legends is literally the biggest video game in the world. Do you know what I mean? So that is huge. Do you guys ever play League? Anyone?
For my sins.
Oh yeah, me too. Nice. That's great. I'm so pleased.
I played it religiously for the first year that I was making content.
Hell yeah.
And I had to stop because I was losing myself.
It makes you a bad person. It really does.
Everything made me mad. Food tasted awful. It just genuinely made me go, I need to go to rehab or just
cut yourself off.
Yeah, and it was the kind of thing where I wasn't stopping my work schedule, so I was like completing games, writing scripts, working on videos, and also playing League at the same time, and it's like I had to stop.
So if you would like your life ruined as well, check out League of Legends.
Yes.
By the way,
the
mobile port of League of Legends Wild Rift is remarkable. Like on every level. Like as it does, like it's like I would love to do a video on the design of Wild Rift from a user experience perspective. Like this app is incredible. As a video, I'm not even making any sense, but just believe me, log in and play it, and you're like, I can't believe how smooth this is, how easy it is to like understand this remarkably complex game and play it well on a little fucking touchscreen. Do you know what I mean? It's a small miracle they managed to do it. Because everyone's like, hey, Diablo Immortal's really impressive. And it is. It's got nothing on Wild Rift with regards to recreating an experience with that level of fidelity. It's remarkable. So there's that. That was pretty cool and pretty exciting. Plague Tale Requiem. We got some gameplay for that. Did you guys play the first one?
Yeah.
Loved it.
Nice.
Loved it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely awesome. This looks cool. It's like a continuation of the story, same flow. It looks like it plays a lot like the original. A lot of the same mechanics, rat mechanics, puzzle mechanics, the way that a lot of the navigation is, but it seems like you can hide more. It seems like she murders more. So yeah, it's interesting.
But he's like no killing, he says in the trailer. And that's the start of the trailer, and then by the end she's like stab.
Yeah, imagine having a younger brother and he's like, please don't kill anyone. And then you're like, montage of killing, little boy.
That's right. No, that is actually one that I skipped was High on Life.
Oh, dude.
Oh, yeah.
This is cool.
Yes.
This is cool.
So this is, it's Richard and Morty, I believe.
Yes,
is that
yeah,
what it's called?
Richard and Morty.
Yes,
Richard
that's
Yeah,
right.
I don't know anything about any of this stuff, but I know that they've made other games, and this seems to be like their big, huge one. It's just seems like an irreverent, wild first-person shooter.
What are they called? Squanch
Games?
Squanch?
Yeah.
Is that what they're called?
Squanch?
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, sure. But
It just feels like everyone's voiced by the same three people.
Yes, actually,
Yeah, that's
yes.
what
But the way they do it, like the dialogue, like the delivery is like so unlike anything else. And I don't even watch any of that. Like
I've
don't know,
never seen
but,
an
like,
episode. I've never ever seen
I haven't
it.
either.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
do you watch Rick and Morty?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good, thank God. Fine.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, right, no, it was like...
I'm cultured.
To be fair, you have to have a very IQ to understand Rick and Morty,
I've
right?
got the sauce packets.
That's
I
right,
got it.
that's right.
I camped out.
That's right. I was joking, by the way. It's that obnoxious meme that the Rick and Morty community is like fan base is the worst of the worst. It's basically true. So yeah.
Wow.
But look, haven't you heard this before?
You're gonna just like debut a podcast and trash the world. Like, trash
The Rick and Morty fans are coming, man. Don't worry, I'm a fan myself, so I'm like, bring it on. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But no, it is
Pickle Rick. Pickle Rick.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
I know that.
But this, as you were saying, it's kind of like there has been other games from this team before, nowhere near this level of production
This is
value.
crazy.
And it just actually, of all of the games, it was one of the better looking games. Full stop. You know, what I mean?
Yeah.
Just in terms of
Stylized,
what
yeah.
they were doing and how stylized it was, and I was just like,
Every
totally
enemy
digging
looked
it.
cool. Everything looked cool. Every weapon looked cool. Famous voice actors. I heard JB Smoove. I don't know who else is in it, but I heard JB Smoove as one of the guns. I'm pretty sure it was him.
Okay,
It's cool.
What's JB Smooth done?
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh.
He's a comedian.
Right.
He pops up in things.
Okay, yeah, cool, nice. So yeah, that was super fun. Forza. I'm not a motorsports person personally. I'm not into that at all. I dabble and I'm like, hey, this is pretty and nice.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any greater affinity for them?
I'm a Horizon
Yep.
fan.
Yeah.
I never get into the less arcade side
Sure.
of things. I can't drive in real life, so it doesn't. I don't know how good that brake pad feels. I don't know. I have nothing to compare it to.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I also wonder, we're at the point now where like, just how much fidelity, what's the next leap going to be,
How
right?
much clearer can
Yeah.
things get?
Well, I'm starting to find myself listening to. So one of their big things was like their time of day, their weather stuff, and time of day and temperature with how it would affect road conditions, how it would affect like the temperature of the tire, the rubber on the tires, and that would, where it's so minute, where I'm like, you could just not tell me that, and I like it would, either way, I don't think I would notice, and like it's like cool, impressive
But Jake,
tech.
look at the asphalt.
It did look cool. It had little pebbles on the ground, like you could.
Yeah.
It
When
was
that,
really
like,
cool.
they showed that damage, like when the car
Yeah.
side swiped.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, I
super
mean,
Yeah.
that's quite
impressive.
funny though, because GT7 didn't have any car damage.
Yes,
Classic
Yeah,
GT,
so that
like
was
yeah.
Classic
So
GT.
Yeah.
Do you think, was there anything in that trailer that would make you go, oh, I might check this out? Was there anything like that?
I play almost every racing game.
Okay.
That's like a fun little weird fact about me.
Okay.
I love racing games.
Wait,
of
so
all
this
kinds.
whole time, I thought we were all on the couch united that we were not interested in racing games, but now it turns out you're a massive racing game fan.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
I did not know that.
But I just have nothing to say about this other than like
Oh.
they made another one. It's crazy this time. You could say that last time. They made another one. This
Sure.
one's insane with the graphics and the
That's
detail.
I feel
but-
like that's the surname they
Yeah.
never say is another one. It's more
Another
crazy.
No, well, actually,
Yeah.
they even dropped the number. This is just Forza Motorsport
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's, you know. But I always think about just how hard it would be to make this as a developer. Like
Yeah.
that little shot they showed of the engine, someone did
man.
that. A whole team of people sat there and did that engine.
Yeah.
And there's going to be 500 other engines that they
Yeah.
modeled to that level of
They
fidelity.
have
Do you know what I
to-
mean?
They have to love what they do.
Yeah, well, you'd
Yeah.
hope so.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
They're just
I don't know
yeah,
why
it's
you're
like-
at that studio.
the requirement you have to if you work here if you want to work here you have to like want to have sex with cars.
like that guy in the
Oh,
news
from
clip.
the TLC.
Yeah, you want to be able to marry a car. You can work here.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, car
definitely.
perverts.
There was Flight Simulator as well. Got a nice update. That's like a 40th anniversary thing
Yeah.
coming. You can fly a Pelican.
Good.
There's a Sad Smith. What is it called? Spirit of St. Louis.
Spirit of
movie.
St. Louis,
South
yeah,
Louis,
which they
yeah.
showed like running from like a thunderstorm. I was like, oh no. I was like, were they gonna have the Amelia
was gonna
Earhart
say-
plane
Yeah, yeah,
disappear?
that's right.
I was like, oh my
Bit on the
goodness.
nose.
Yeah, and then the Pelican from Halo, and
Yeah.
then flying up in space,
Yeah.
which is pretty significant.
Yeah.
Not to mention also helicopters is big too. I
Is that
believe-
coming? Is that a thing?
Yeah, I believe
Oh,
that's new.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Nice. We have an actual Overwatch addict for her sins on
Yes.
the couch
Thing,
with
yeah,
us.
yeah.
So we'll throw to Luce for the Overwatch 2 bit.
I
what
mean,
happened?
I was about to reference a previous episode, then I remembered it never aired.
None of them have been aired.
No, so Overwatch 2 doing what I guess we all thought it would. It's going free to play, launching the multiplayer part of it in October 4th. And I think the most exciting thing for me, that new hero, Janka Quain.
Okay, listen.
Is this like
it possible to add an Australian character to a game that's
not-
not drawn from Mad Max? Can we start going somewhere else?
What else-
please?
what else are you
Because it
guys
feels
known for?
like, oh, it's got an Australian accent. Quick, put some fucking car parts on him and like call it a day. That's it. You know what I mean?
Give him football shoulder pads, black him out, put
Right.
spikes on him.
Make sure you ham up the accent and you're
Yeah.
done. you know?
Janka
Like,
Queen.
fucking hell.
Is this like Bride of Junkrat or something? I don't know.
So she's.
I don't know anything about Overwatch.
Oh, and you want to learn about some lore? No, she's been in the game for a while. Since I can't remember when they debuted the Junkertown map, but she is yelling at you throughout that entire map.
Seems nice.
But she's been rumored to have been in it for a long time.
Oh,
There's
okay.
been
So this is
leaked
like a big
stuff.
deal.
Yeah. So,
Cool.
but also, can I say that we? Okay, cut.
Tam in the back being like,
Just Tam's like,
don't say what you were about to say.
Well, no, I was gonna. I don't think Blizzard are ready for just how horny people are gonna be about jumping screen. That's all I'm saying.
I think they are. That's what they. That's
I
why
thought every
they're doing
character
it.
exists
I
for
think
Rule
they
34, and that's
are.
it.
Yeah.
The game is a secondary
Except for
consideration.
maybe the hamster and the robot,
Right.
everyone
You
else is
would
meant.
be
Yeah, then
surprised.
Richard Gere, man, he's into that. What?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Let's not get us
Sorry.
taken down
Let's not
at
get
one.
us-
Allegedly into it.
That's right. That's
But
right.
no,
Wait,
going.
what?
No, you know, we're not going to go
But
there.
side quests after the
right.
show.
That's
Yeah,
right.
oh, yeah.
We'll get
Yeah,
you
well-
caught to speed.
Oh, man.
But no, it's very exciting. Like honestly, when they were talking about Overwatch, in terms of release date stuff, I honestly didn't anticipate it coming that soon. I know they had like a closed alpha and a beta. They have another stream on the 16th where they'll probably go deeper into what the roadmap is going to look like. Junker Queen, because it was very, very brief. It was like, okay, it's coming out here, but I was like, what else can we expect, you know?
Sure.
So I assume that's what that stream is going to be. But I'm really excited.
Jake, what's your prediction for Overwatch 2? Is it going to pop off, or is it just going to be like, what do you reckon?
I think I like the monkey with the glasses. He's like really,
Winston?
He's like really smart, right? I love it.
Nice.
This is real market analysis right here. You're like, is Overwatch going to be the next successful esport? I like the monkey with the glasses.
That's
He
how you
knows
not
what
answer a
he's doing.
question.
That's right.
Uh,
Oh, man.
do you want me to say something?
No, we didn't answer the question. God damn it.
I'm excited for the PvE stuff, the stuff that's going to come later,
Sure.
because I'm not a multiplayer person, but I have such appreciation for the designs, like the monkey with the glasses. But like just seeing that trailer and seeing how incredible every character was on screen, where they all were like, bam, wink, zoom, and like every character was like incredible with the music swelling, where I'm like, man, the people that are in love with these characters are freaking out right now, and I
Overwatch
want
perverts
to
like me.
be like that. Yeah,
Yeah, true.
So
That's very true.
yeah, I'll jump in.
I feel like the unfortunate truth, though, is that Activision Blizzard still has a lot of stink on them. And considering what we saw a couple months ago with was it the alpha or the beta for Overwatch 2? The short closed beta they had. My fear. I love Overwatch. Like I spent too much time on the first game, but after a couple of years, I was like, okay, I think I'm done with this because the new characters isn't enough. And then to hear, Jeff Kaplan leaving and everything kind of evolving to it, I hope that it captures the spirit again of the first one. I just don't know how they're going to do it. So.
I mean, I feel like they've got some good momentum. Getting over 1 million on Twitch. I know that's not the be all and end all, but like
That's very fake inflated though. Like that was just Twitch drops.
it was like
and then
Twitch
it drops
drops and
off
stuff.
to like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it felt like for a hot minute anyway, people were talking about being excited, and maybe it's just because I'm a big Overwatch fan. But like, I don't think anyone does a character trailer like Blizzard.
Sure.
That's true.
Yeah.
And the trailer when they were all, just even appearing on screen, not really doing anything, in the music, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Actually, Riot do character trailers.
Riot do
damn well.
yeah.
So yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah, but I felt,
I'm gonna jump into it. I think I know what Overwatch is at this point enough to be like, I'm not going to play much of this because the kind of experience I want, that isn't it. If I'm going to go for a team-based experience, I'll probably go back and play League, you know what I mean? Or Siege.
Or Tribes.
Boot that up. Get an old Windows 95 machine get it running again. But I mean, I hope it does well because that community has really been like through, hell's a strong word, but like really been neglected. It's been a shitty run. It would be nice if this game arrived and it was delivered everything they hoped for. That'd be a cool
Overwatch
story.
League coming back.
Yeah, all that stuff,
Yeah.
So I don't know about that one though. There was an interesting story from Bloomberg this week about
haven't read
that
it
Overwatch
yet.
League and Bobby Kotick basically like promising the world and delivering nothing. Apparently he like the buy-in price was meant to be $2 million to get into the league.
Oh,
Like,
no, it
and
was
then,
more.
but apparently Bobby Kotick added a 0. So then it was
Yes.
like, cool, 20 million to get in.
Oh.
And then
Mamma
this team
mia.
said yes. And they're
No,
like, sure,
so
man.
I mean, Tam and I and Richard and Joey from GameSpot, we made a documentary about the Overwatch League when it launched.
Right.
And the people that we were talking to what was his face from like the son of Bob Kraft or whatever, because Kraft had an Overwatch League team. And,
Like Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
Yeah, we
So
would,
like billionaire, like
yeah,
sure,
and like
sure.
just they were promised that this is the way to get to the gamers, and whoever. There was T-Mobile and Audi and Coke were all supporting that first league. It was ridiculous money. I don't know if you ever went to the Blizzard Arena.
No.
Oh man, the Blizzard Arena.
No.
My buddy was one of the tech directors over there, and just knowing the money and resources that went into that thing, incredibly impressive. But man, oh man, it's like you were in a futuristic home, and if you pressed something, an alarm went off.
There was a full wraparound LED wall.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah,
okay.
it was beautiful. And so like they would project the game, but also like just the amount of people they needed to switch the game, because Overwatch at the time didn't necessarily have the best spectating tools.
Yeah.
So you needed actual pros. Like a lot of the people who pioneered when esports was first getting big, and it was like it was huge. It wasn't always full. We were there for like a few days, and like not every day was full, and it wasn't actually that expensive to get in.
Sure.
Right.
Well, it was one of the things the report said that was like they really struggled to like, and when Bobby Kotick was going to go and visit an event, like go to one of the things one week, they would like bus in people, they would like get staff to like get their friends and family in to like make it look like it's packed out when really it's like no one there, you know what I mean? So it's pretty rough. Anyway, we'll find out, I guess.
I think we should take away all the money.
From everyone?
It's just
From
crazy.
everything?
This is so chaotic. There's these crazy stadiums, and like, what are we doing here? I just want to play like Soul Reaver. Okay?
Yes. Thank you. That's right. There was other stuff after that. There was this Hot Wheels thing. Man.
Yes.
Low key, this is like kind of one of the best trailers. Perhaps the best trailer that I saw was a Hot Wheels expansion launching for Forza Horizon on July 19.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Looks like fun.
It looks super fun and just totally out there and crazy.
They've done Hot Wheels before.
They have.
haven't
In
they?
Forza 3, they did it. So they're doing it again. I missed that, though, but I won't be missing it this time, which is rad. Scorn. What did you guys think of Scorn? So Scorn, as a recap, is that like H.R. Geiger-looking first-person shooter. It's all creepy and messed up and shit. We've got a new trailer. I've got an update on it from the first time in forever. What did you guys think?
I thought it came out already.
I did too.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
I also thought it came out.
There was a similar game.
Interesting.
There was a similar gross game.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier. But we can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, no, I can't remember the name, but it came out like a year ago, and it was also icky and gross. But this one, I'm hoping, is better. The style is really cool.
Yep.
We still don't like totally have. It's like kind of a shooter, but not really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like you look at disgusting things and you like move on. But
Shoot disgusting things?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Cool. Well, that's out. Is there a release date for that? October.
Yes, October.
21.
So-
Yeah, right.
October,
So that's kind of
finally.
soon.
it's been a while, yeah. So thankfully.
It's been a while.
Flinthawk Siege of Dawn is one I actually would recommend putting on your radar because it's made by the same people who made a game called Ashen.
Oh,
And-
really?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Yeah.
Ashen. Did you guys actually play it or you just saw it?
So I,
You saw it. Okay. Cool. Ashen was one of the better Souls lights very early on in the piece, and like it's not great mechanically, but it just like has it's like baby's first Souls like, for example. You know what I mean? It's a really welcoming platform for like, because it's co-op and it's pretty simple, but it has really nice art design and you can get through it at a nice trot and whatever else. So I quite like that one, and I like that studio for that reason. I think
This
they're a
looks
New
cool.
Zealand-based studio from what I recall.
Oh.
And this looks like a big step up from that. Way more actiony.
Yeah.
In a way that I'm like, oh, I don't know about this, because the animations look a little jank.
some of it looked a little slow, but I still kind of ultimately I was like, this looks a little bit like if you want to just be super broad, it looks almost like a little bit like Forspoken, but like I think this looks kind of cooler. I think the character was really cool. Like some of the tricks she had up her sleeve, like with like the backwards dodges where she was like kind of Batman throwing like quick little like flashbangs and stuff. I was like, okay, all right.
That was cool. I agree. So yeah, I think that's one to keep on radar.
Yeah.
What about Minecraft Legends? Question: does anyone know what this game is?
No,
Does
because
anyone
they
know?
said it was a brand new game and then it looked like Minecraft.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It looked like a combination of like what are those games called? Misao games?
Muso?
Oh, Muso?
Yes.
Yeah, Little Dynasty Warriors.
Dynasty,
Yeah.
Hyrule Warriors-esque, like
Yeah.
you recruit pigs and chickens and
Yeah, and then you're on a
and
horse swinging your
creepers,
staff
and then
and just
Yeah.
wipe.
you can also like build homes for a little bit, but then
Yeah.
you like lead the units in the battle, and you can also attack. Like I don't know. Minecraft games look like Minecraft, so I don't know
What's going on?
What's going on?
Yeah.
Like I was hoping it was a RTS, Like, I'd love to see a Minecraft RTS.
Yeah.
That seemed like
That would be really interesting, wouldn't it?
it's just genre pushing,
Good
and
idea.
like you can still enjoy the art style.
Yeah.
But you know, we got Minecraft Dungeons, which was
Oh yeah.
Yes, I agree
Minecraft
with you. Thank
RPG,
you. I totally agree
fine.
with you.
That was cool.
It's fine.
it was the most
Correct.
bland, okay,
Totally.
felt
Yeah.
nothing game.
Yes.
Out of the Minecraft legacy so far, but this one I felt like didn't really showcase much of the actual gameplay.
No, I had
it was
no
just
idea
a
what was
montage
happening.
Wow.
of characters and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. True. There was this last case of Benedict Fox.
Oh, that looked cool.
which
Yeah.
you guys really, I was like, it looks cool, but you
Yeah.
guys were really, it seems like really digging
This
it.
is up there for me.
What
Yeah.
what really stood out for you guys?
It looked a bit like kind of reminded me a little bit of Ghost Trick in a little way. Kind of the interacting with the dead sort
Sure.
of thing. But also, I'm a sucker for an investigation. I'm a sucker for solving a cold case, and
Right.
so I also kind of really dug the art style. I thought it would just, I don't know, it looks simple enough, but also stylized enough that it really caught my eye. And
The
I'm
way
like,
the character kind of like bounds and he's got like
Yeah.
these long, he kind of like reminded me of like a Monkey Island character
Yes.
a little
Yes.
bit, but like everything
Yeah.
was like really spooky and Victorian. Like,
yeah, that's just kind of stuff that like ding ding ding.
And
Yeah.
Yes.
this is an original IP, right?
I'm assuming so.
I think so.
Maybe so?
Because I when I saw it, I was like, was there a first case? Like I was an idiot, right? I was not trying to be rude. But I was like,
Yeah.
is this a sequel? I just
Goat
didn't
Simulator 4.
know.
yeah, right. yeah.
seeing the character though, like it looked like there's like some progression with him getting some abilities where he's like, they showed him talking to like this demon, which it sounded like the darkness, like, and it gave me the whole like darkness vibe. But then you see the character eventually like jumping and being like pulled by the like dark
Yeah.
shadow behind him and stuff. So I'm curious to see how it actually plays.
Yeah, for sure. There was As Dusk Falls, which is a narrative-led experience. It's got that very kind of like static art style with stills that kind of move, frame by frame
Yeah.
almost. Very interestingly, they said 8-player co-op. Did you catch that?
No, I missed
Yeah.
that.
So I'm assuming it's that kind of thing where you sit on a couch with like 7 other people and you'd hand the controller around when it's your turn to make
Yeah.
your decision for your character.
Something
Okay.
like that.
Yeah, but they said you could also play through it entirely solo. It seems interesting, I guess, and it's out soon-ish, so
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah,
when's
sure.
that
I
out?
think that the coolest thing about it is that like the trailers are pretty nuts. Like it almost feels like it's like this like Breaking Bad story.
Yes,
Like it's
yes.
something
Yeah.
that's just very not like video gamey story, at least on the surface. So
Yeah. No, I think that was one to keep an eye on. There was this one, Pentiment.
yeah.
So before the show there was all this like, oh my god, Obsidian, they're going to announce Fallout New Vegas again. We're happening. Let's go.
It's like not yet.
And then Jason Schreier actually tweeted before the show that he'd heard a rumor about like a Obsidian take on Disco Elysium. And then this is what it ended up being. But the visual style is so different to what I think a lot of people would have liked.
Yeah.
That,
But
a lot
also
of people are
there's
like,
been like a weird resurgence of games with similar art
Very
styles
true.
recently. With not Potion Seller. That's the meme. Potion.
Seller.
No, you can't handle my potions. Potion Crafter,
Yes,
and there's
yep.
another one.
there's a few of them that I see
Yeah.
around the indie space. You're right, absolutely, for sure. So, what did you guys think of this one? Is it piquing your interest? Is
Yes.
what's your vibe? Yes.
I'm a history bitch.
Okay.
Me too. Yeah, I'm a art history
Sure.
person. So I'm an art history bitch. So yeah, so seeing that and then just knowing that like
Some art history bitches.
yeah. And seeing that Obsidian's behind it and just liking how they craft stories and
Yeah.
branching things.
Yes.
And it takes place over 25 years.
Oh,
And
okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Tam
Okay.
interviewed Josh Sawyer,
Right.
who I can only say his name in like the Rush way of Tom Sawyer. Like from the song.
No.
Oh, like I'm so
Yeah, Josh Sawyer. Yeah, so it's it's Saturday night. I've got my Alma Rush mixtape. Let's go. Yeah, it's kind of like a passion project. Been working on it for a couple of years. Small team within Obsidian.
Yeah.
He has like a bachelor's in history, and so it's always
Cool.
actually. And also, if you look at his tattoos, because Tam was doing the interview, and I was there too. Like I was just kind of interviewing. We were doing like little vlog stuff for Giant Bomb, and I was looking at his tattoos, and like he has very sort of. It's not, what is it? It's not medieval. He said it was like, no, it's the early ages or something. I was like, no. Oh, because the medieval period is not just like,
it's
it's like 1,000
Yeah.
years or something. So
Yeah.
it's early medieval, and it's like there's a death, and you just decide to solve it, and you can accuse someone, and there's kind of consequences based on
Oh,
who
okay.
you j'accuse. You know,
Yeah.
you can either pick someone
I
who
like that.
you know, you think that people won't be annoyed with, or you can kill someone, you know, sentence someone to death if you think that they really did do it, or, you know, and then you've got the 25 years. And he was saying as well that, like, the art style will change. So, like, at the
that's
beginning of the
really
game, before
interesting.
before time changes, at the very beginning, it'll look very painterly, like
Sure.
Yeah.
painted. And then during the time, the printing press gets invented, and
Yeah.
so later on, the
Whoa.
characters will look like they were printed.
That makes sense
That
because
is
I even saw
cool.
little
Whoa.
differences.
Yeah.
Like I saw little differences in like some of that art at the start was like really crude.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Well, the coolest thing as well is that he said that characters, as they age, the paint will kind of chip off. And
What?
be like,
That's so
Whoa,
cool.
So
yeah.
Cool.
I'm really intrigued by
Yeah.
it.
Mm.
I will never remember the name.
Pentiment.
Pentiment.
When I
Memento.
typed it into my phone, it was like Pentimento came up as an auto.
Yeah,
Yeah, mine
autocorrect
too.
thing. So
Yeah,
that must be a
Pentiment.
word.
Pentiment.
But Pentiment, I'm interested in it.
Yeah.
I really like the fact that Obsidian are like, you know what? You want Fallout New Vegas? Well, we're going to get a team of 12 people and we're going to make this.
Yeah.
You know, not to like
Yeah.
spite their people, but
No.
because
Yeah,
they
yeah.
want to make what they want to make. And I
Yeah.
like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just cool that they get to do that. Like Grounded, for example, which you
Yeah.
know it's all coming, but like Grounded rules. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they're doing it.
Let them do what
and-
they want to do, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of
Make good
Grounded,
games.
I guess, I mean, yeah, that's
Yeah.
coming in full 1.0 in September. I
Whole
mean,
story.
so have you played it yet?
I have.
Yeah, so I played the like the phase 1
Mhm.
thing when it just started in early access, and I'm like, this rules. I'm not playing any more of it until it's finished.
I
Nice.
had the
You know what
same
Good
exact
idea.
experience.
So,
That's
yeah.
a good idea. Yeah.
yeah. And so it's come a long way since then. Like they showed so much extra stuff that was not in the game the first time I played it, and I'm so pumped because the full story's in there now as well. And that was a real cliffhanger thing at the first, because you could actually get through that early access demo in 5 minutes
Yeah.
if you just ran straight
Right.
to the tree and like whatever. But it's a cool concept. It's Honey, I Shrunk the Kids meets a survival game. It's fully co-op. It's going to be on Game Pass day one. I reckon this will do super well because just when people start getting into it, you can't not fall in love with it. You know, it's just got too many cool, cute things that you want to stick with. You know,
Games where you play with your friends are
Yeah.
always fun.
and survival games especially because
Yeah.
they're so collaborative.
Mhm.
I'll go get the wood, you know,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah,
do
you could do
this,
this.
and you're just forced to
Stick
work
together. Meet
you know.
me here. Yeah.
Totally. Whereas if you're playing a co-op shooter, you can kind of like, lone wolf it and run ahead of the pack and it's fine. Like Dark Tide, for example, you can do that a lot. But these kind of games really force you to do that, and I just
Yeah.
love that so much. It's awesome. There was this Ereban Shadow Legacy. Do you guys, or Shadow, is it Legacy? It is Legacy. Do you
Yeah.
guys remember this one?
Yes.
I'm
Not gonna
It has
lie.
like-
missed this
it
one.
has like a
I thought it was a Raid Shadow Legends spin-off.
Right, sure.
I
It
missed
has
this
like
one.
this cool
I
art
peed at this
style.
point. I'm sorry.
Say again, sorry?
I peed at this point.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
sorry.
right. Well, it has
When
like
you
this...
say peed, you mean you went to the bathroom.
Yeah, I didn't
So,
just sit
she's
in my
not
chair.
peeing on
I
it.
was like,
Just
Good,
to make
glad
sure.
that we cleared that up,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
especially for Jake and Gerard's benefit, you know?
Absolutely.
So he like looked down at Jake.
Jesus.
Yeah, it has this really nice art style. It's a stealth game where you are able to meld into the shadows and use them as a means of transportation.
Mhm.
So if there's like a box moving across a wall, you move like you're sort of like melded
like
into the
Shim.
shadow.
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But it was nice and had a cool thing going, and
Yeah.
I'm keen for that.
I almost thought it was like another origami game.
Oh,
like,
right,
with
yeah.
a different
Yeah,
setting.
I can see that.
But I'm glad it's its own thing.
Yeah,
It's
for
very
sure,
cool.
for sure. Then very big reveal, or not reveal, but like a thing, Diablo 4.
Yes.
Now, I definitely have some thoughts on this. What do you guys think first? What's up? How did that trailer make you feel? Did you feel it in your jellies, or were you just like, this is more Diablo?
It's both.
Right, okay.
I feel excited that we're getting more Diablo. At the same time, especially since I've put so much time into Immortal currently, I'm also like, it's the same classes. It's the
yeah,
Five, right?
Necromancer
Five,
being the
Yeah.
final one.
like of course necromancers are always cool, right? But like druid, elemental sorcerer, barbarian, like it just feels like we're not really reaching deep for new classes that define what the future of Diablo could be. I like the fact there's so much to do. I like the fact there's a lot of spontaneous moments that just kind of unfold in the world. But it just sounds like they're trying to make sure that people are going to play this game for the next 15 years. And I don't know if it's a bad thing or a good thing, but it just seems like they're really focusing in on keywords, right? Like thousands of or
150 dungeons.
150 dungeons.
World events.
Yeah.
Like,
World events. Like they really want people to play this game for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, still to this day, Diablo 3 is still huge, and so it makes
Diablo
sense.
2 is still huge.
Then Diablo 2,
The original and remaster
both.
have their own divided fan bases.
Yeah.
And so I feel like they know, but the real test of it is going to be how they manage endgame content and make sure that people are happy there. I mean, I played Diablo 3 when it came out. I never got like too into it. We played it again last year, and I was like, I can't do this again. I need the next thing. And so Diablo 4 has me very interested. Especially kind of like the world event sort of stuff. Like the way that kind of feels like more of an organic sort of Destiny, Final Fantasy, more like an MMORPG kind of thing, you know, like these
Things
shared
just
world
happen.
events. Yeah.
Which
I'm intrigued by. And also there's like a character customization now. Yeah.
It took them
long enough.
but finally you can customize.
Yeah.
You can do that in Immortal as well, can't you? Isn't there some like limited customization?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's
very
relatively
basic.
limited.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure,
Whereas
sure.
before it was even less so.
Yeah.
We have like the spooky atmosphere and stuff
Yeah,
like
I
that. Like
loved
I
it.
just
I
like
loved it
all
so
that.
much.
Yeah.
Also we talked about people that do good character trailers. That was a really good class introduction.
Hell
like
yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, I've never played as a necromancer, and I was like, yeah, I want to play as a necromancer. This is
Seeing
so
like
cool.
all the skeletons like rise up around her,
man.
you're like,
So well
there's
done.
Golem and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, that I think, I mean, I was very much like, well, where do you go after Diablo 3, right?
Yeah.
Because you've really, you it was shitty at launch, and then they just rebuilt the entire loop, the loot economy, everything, and they landed in a great place. And Diablo 3 ended up being a fantastic game. I dumped a ton of hours into it, multiple characters across multiple seasons. And I was very much like, okay, what's next? They did talk about taking Diablo like third person, for example. At one point, it was like Souls-like, you know what I mean? But they eventually decided, no, isometric is what Diablo is, and we're going to stick with that. And I think they've showed a really great vision of that here, because this is so much darker and so much more intimate. It really feels like it's not about, I mean, obviously Diablo's always been about mowing down thousands of demons. And maybe it is like Diablo 4 is exactly the same as that, but certainly what they've shown so far looks a little bit more constrained. It's less about like, let's flood your screen with a billion enemies, and more about just like, let's just have interesting foes that you're engaging and create like these really interesting looking encounters. At least that's what I'm
I saw some
taking
good
from the
looking
trailer.
bosses or sub bosses.
For
that
sure,
were,
you know, all that stuff. And I'm really interested in that. And the whole thing just kind of looks more narrow in terms of the structure of levels and whatever. And I don't know. So again, maybe I'm wrong about all of this, and maybe that's whatever. But that's what I'm taking from the trailers. And I'm really liking it a lot. And I'm also like, you're right, the class design, they could have gone for some other different shit for sure.
And
but then there was like Witch Doctor in Diablo 3, and everyone's like, I hate Witch Doctor. You know what I mean? Because it's so different, you know? So it's, but I agree with you. You're right. It would have been fun, like, cool to find a new archetype, definitely.
Especially, I mean, at least for starting class, right? Like, I think that was the thing, is like, we're the class alignment, the fact they were like, this is the last new class in the game. And it's like, well, it's a new class because it's new for the new game, but like Diablo 2, Diablo 3 got the Necromancer.
Yeah.
Like it,
Diablo
Immortal, right?
Yeah.
So like you're same song and dance. It's like saying like Luigi is in the game, right? Like, we know.
We got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think my biggest hesitation about Diablo 4, and a lot of it comes because I've been playing so much Immortal, is I know the shit show that was the auction house, and the weird Diablo 2 online purchasing websites that exist. I just want Blizzard to just remove as much real world money making devices out of Diablo 4. Just let people play it.
Yeah.
And it requires a fair amount of dismantling what makes Diablo great, and that's the thing that
Well, I think they solved that problem with Diablo 3, really. I mean, in terms
that's
of
true.
bound
Eventually.
items, there's no
later
auction
on.
house.
Bound
Later on.
items is actually a great
Yeah,
point.
like later on, but they did say that Diablo 4 is going to have microtransactions for cosmetics, and like that's a bummer because the series has never had to have it before.
Yeah.
At the same time, like I get the flip side. It's like it's a different world now, and making games is different. But like at the same time, Bobby Kotick gets a $500 million pay fucking bump. So
Right.
don't come at me with like this series needs it to survive. That's bullshit.
Also, I don't
But,
need.
like-
It's like when someone's like, yes, Diablo 4 Season 79. I'm like, what is that? That means nothing to me
that's
when I
nothing.
played through the game
Yeah.
years ago.
Sure.
Or when a new game comes out and it's like Season 45 is here, and you're like, this game's not even a year old, and you went through 45 different fucking
Slow down.
seasons.
Yeah.
Cool it.
I mean, the seasonal updates of Diablo were pretty good because they would always add new items.
Sure.
You know, like new sets to collect, they'd reset the ladders. It was a good incentive to just start a new character, which is the point of Diablo.
Sure.
It's actually never trying to be this.
keep going.
It's never trying to be this game where you have this one character you play forever. It's actually trying to be this game that's encouraging you to play multiple characters in multiple different ways.
Sure.
And I think it kind of landed in a good spot with 3. But yeah, man, I don't know. I'm really pumped for 4 now. Like, this trailer really got me on board, and I was not feeling that at all before. But by the end, I was like, yeah, give me Diablo. I'm ready, man.
We get some cool like classes like added later on. I could assume.
That's true.
Right?
That's absolutely
Yeah.
true. You're right.
Pig
That's where they do
trainer,
that stuff,
potion slurper. I don't know, like something. good.
Potion
I just came up with 2 right away. Don't do that.
Before they
Don't
do
do that into the mic. No.
Hey, man,
Oh,
I'm
man.
Project Jerk. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
It's the ASMR.
There was this Cocoon game, and this is from one of the makers of Inside and Limbo.
Yes.
So
Oh,
the
yeah,
people
so
who
what-
made
so-
those
Best
games, they
games.
split.
They split.
Yes, and they have their own things going now. This is one of the creators. It is like a, artsy, exploration-y puzzle game. And I really like the look of it because I'm very much about those games.
Yep.
I know Jake was not about it. He was like, no, thank you.
Yeah, I was just like, not
I was
enough
like,
like
that's-
Limbo. I don't
No,
want.
right.
I'm not going from left to right.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
want it. I don't want
exactly. Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So did you guys have any thought? Did you guys see that one? And he like,
Yeah.
yes?
I think the
Yes or
art
no?
style's really interesting.
Yeah.
Mm.
It was almost like I just didn't understand what the gameplay was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the loop or the mechanics. I just was like, wow, moving pictures.
I've got to go down.
There's puzzles that really clearly spelled out what put the ball there and the ball does that.
but I think that's what it was. It was like put the ball here,
Sure.
but the ball can also make you go into a different world. And
Yeah, I was
and
like,
then that
what?
was
That's sick.
It was really cool.
It was
but it's
very
like,
impressive.
Great, now here's
Yeah.
a new puzzle about that same ball.
Sure,
It's
Yeah.
like
sure.
if it was the ball, if it's the ball game the whole time, which I'm
Yeah.
sure it won't be, but that's kind of the vibe that I got is that we're dealing with a lot of balls here.
Sure.
I'm into.
Nice.
I'm in-
Lots of balls.
I'm down with it being like just like
Big old
weird
balls.
bug game, just because it's
Yeah.
first of all, Cocoon is a very cool name for a game.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the way
You
that
guys remember the movie?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
No one
finally,
remembers that
someone
movie.
else. Okay.
That's a fantastic
Yes.
movie.
Yes.
That's right.
So yeah, it was cool.
It is very cool.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to rewrite history on that one. That was a
No.
cool movie.
And then the way the trailer ended with like this big abstract bug god, like it got all weird at the end. I
Yeah.
was like kind of trippy. I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. And then our big surprise announcement was that the Persona games are coming to not only Xbox, but also to PC.
Yes.
And you're getting Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 5 Royale.
Oh, yeah.
They are all coming. 5 Royale comes on October 21st.
Yeah, that's the first
coming
one.
And
first,
you're
yeah.
going to be able to play it on Steam Deck before Switch, which
That is-
is
well,
brutal.
I mean, it's on cloud, right? So theoretically, I suppose you could play it on your mobile.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
You'll
And
never
like-
see it coming.
Wow, there it is.
Well,
There it
that's-
is.
I played that game.
That's right.
Yep, that's right.
I put 25. Look, the thing is, I put 25 hours into Persona and then I stopped. Not because I wasn't enjoying it, but because it's like 125 hours
It's a
to
big
finish
ask.
that game.
Yeah.
And I was like, unfortunately, I have to move on to other things. I love what I played. Really
Yep.
did. It's so stylish. It's so well written. The character's
put
so
in
cool.
600 hours into Persona 5.
That's perfectly normal. That's right. That's standard for a
That's
Persona
standard
fan.
to you.
Yeah.
I was
That's right.
trying to complete it the way that I thought it was, which is all the endings.
Yeah,
and
no.
that was a mistake.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Oh, honey.
Oh,
So
honey.
do you like Persona 5 now, or do you like, no, I hate it now?
Oh,
actually?
I loved everything on the first playthrough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Second
okay,
playthrough
right.
through, I
Sure,
was
sure,
like,
sure.
this, I made a mistake.
Did you play Royal?
No.
Right. It's too scarred to go back.
Too scarred to go back.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure,
that's
sure.
fair.
And I completed it right when Royal came out, so I was like, I'm
good.
good.
Mm.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And also, Royal, you don't get to the new content until 80 hours in. Well, you do. No, you do, but you don't get the new semester until.
Sure.
Obviously, the very end of the
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
But I'm so stoked. That got the most hype reaction
It
from
did.
me.
Yeah.
It did. Well, I mean, across the internet as well.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
I just tweeted, "Shut up."
Especially
Was
for
that-
Persona 4.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Persona 5, obviously Persona 5 is like the hit, right? Everyone's always
Yeah.
talking about it, but
No, but 4's the.
4 is the one
Yeah.
that everyone loves. So to see that on Xbox and PC is pretty rad.
But also, it's a shrewd move from Xbox. Like they saw how well the Yakuza stuff went down.
Yes, it's
And
exactly that again. They're exposing it to more people.
Totally,
Mhm.
totally. I mean, yeah, one of the cornerstones of PlayStation's success is the way they lock down Japan.
Yeah.
And if you can chip away at that, you are going to find an entirely new audience, you know, because why not? Like if your JRPG fans know that they can get JRPGs on Xbox and also Game Pass, why wouldn't they? You know what I mean? They're gonna do it.
Kingdom Hearts was on Game Pass for a little bit, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Yes.
Oh, was it? Okay,
Yeah.
didn't know that. Sure. So that was very exciting. And then we get to the big one. The biggest... Oh, wait, no. There was two. Mr. Kojima made a surprise appearance.
Yes.
He was there. He popped up very briefly to say he was working on an exclusive Xbox title, that it is involving the cloud. That's the game he's always wanted to make, which really hurt because he's made like Metal Gear 3 and stuff, and it's like, well, that wasn't good enough for you, but all right, I guess, you know, it meant a lot to us.
Yeah.
We all remember the ladder.
We remember it.
So, but basically he's there, but he's doing it. The thing is though, the thunder for this announcement was stolen a while back, actually. 'Cause I think it was Jeff Grubb, actually, that got the scoop on.
No, it was Tom. Was it not Tom?
No, this was way back. Yeah. Jeff
got
Grubb
the initial one
on the fact that
Tom had that.
Tom Henderson
broke
was.
it.
So
Yeah.
basically, Jeff Grubb worked out a while back that Kojima was working with Xbox on a. Or maybe it was Jez Corden. I don't know. I can't remember. Was it Jez? I don't know. Anyway, point is, it was leaked, and it was clear that Kojima was doing something with Xbox around cloud. And then recently, Tom Henderson kind of said, like, "Hey, this is the game that it is." And then Kojima's like, "Please take that article down." And Tom Henderson's like, "No," which kind of confirmed that it was right. So that's out there. And so the excitement around this announcement was dimmed a little bit, but I still got nerd tears when I saw Kojima up there. Whenever he's there, I'm just like, "I love you so much, man."
Oh,
He's
man,
everywhere.
When
Mr. Worldwide.
Dude, when I was in the room when they did the Sony conference where they revealed God of War.
Oh, when he came down the
And
stairs.
when he came down the stairs, they made it seem like he came from heaven.
Yeah,
All of us
they knew what
did.
they were
Saying he
doing
did it?
there.
Come on
He
now.
did.
Yeah,
He was there, and all of us were like, "Yeah!" Like it was, yeah.
Sure.
It felt a little bit like that to a degree.
Yeah, it was cool. So it was very exciting. But then, obviously, the brown leather jacket returned.
Hey, if
It
you want to
was-
know where he bought that, there's an article on GameSpot.com.
I actually do. Is there a TLDR on that?
I forget the name of the store, but
Right.
when he did the Starfield reveal initially, Tam interviewed him and asked the big question, which
Right,
was,
right.
Todd, Elder Scrolls 6, whatever. And I was like, where did you get that jacket? And yeah.
So yeah, obviously the Todd came on stage and he's like, "Here's my baby. Here's what I've been working on for the last forever. Starfield, the first new IP from Bethesda in like 25 years or
Yes.
whatever."
Yeah.
And super hyped up. Already delayed.
Sorry, we're not going to hit that very satisfying sounding release date.
22. He's going to push it into some other time. It'll probably be what, like 3/3/23? Is that like? That would be cool. I would bet on that.
Yeah.
And we got our first look at gameplay. What did you guys think of Starfield?
It's what I want it to be.
Okay.
Nice.
I love sci-fi, but I also love a grounded, realistic sci-fi. The thing that attracts me to games like Mass Effect is that like I feel like that world could exist. And I like the sterile, cold, because I find space inherently terrifying. I don't trust people who say that they want to go to space. I'm like, why do you do that?
How could you not trust Jeff Bezos
Yeah,
or
no.
Elon Musk? Both of these guys.
No, it's like space is genuinely like my worst nightmare.
Right.
That and the cold embrace of nothingness. I don't know.
Yeah.
Which is
we're really
space.
No, it is
going out
space.
there.
It makes you think. But no, and so that's what I want to do. And you know, they've been having those Starfield. Can you call them a dev update? It's just Todd and pals chatting about the
concept
game,
art, yeah.
and here's a bit of concept art. But you know, they're speaking my language. I like we want you to carve your own story in space. You know, they got me with the base building. They got me with the
Shipbuilding.
They got me with the shipbuilding.
That
They got
was
me
what
with mining stuff. They got me with being able to finally be an introvert in a game as a personality trait.
Yeah.
You know, it's a Bethesda game, and with that comes a lot of baggage.
It looks like a Bethesda
It
game.
looks.
it
I
does.
think it looks better than it's Creation 2, right? The new engine.
Well, yeah. I mean,
and it's still
that's
I know.
that's branding, man.
I
come
know.
on
It's
now.
it's still. There were some moments in it that I thought, oh, okay, there's actually like these animations now where there were the two characters and they were helping each other put their.
Yeah, the helmets
Yeah.
on. I was
The
like,
helmets-
that does not look like a Bethesda game. That
Yeah.
looks like a proper thing.
Yeah.
But it's like that in the grand scheme of things, it's not a very big
Nope.
thing. But
Sure.
after playing so many Bethesda games
Yeah.
where stuff like that happens off screen,
Sure.
Eyes, still glazed, dead look over. I want to know what the loop is. I want to understand. Like, I'm not being funny, but 1,000 planets. We all in the GameSpot war room. We all just went.
Not this again. Not this again.
Mass Effect. Here we go. That's right.
Just too many planets, Todd.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting caught up in the hype.
Sure.
But I want it to be good. I want it to be that sci-fi fantasy that I dream of.
Yeah. Gerard, what do you think, man?
I have zero feelings about the game.
Really? Okay.
No strong feelings one way
Not
or the
a
You're not
other.
a Bethesda guy, are you?
No. I loved Fallout 3. That was like my favorite Bethesda game. Jumped onto Skyrim. Wasn't the biggest fan of it. Got into the modding scene. Loved that.
Yeah.
But then subsequently from there, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, going back and playing some of the other games. I think there was a while ago where we talked about this on the way here in the car, is that the community makes the games better than they actually are. And they still do really well and everyone loves them. But I think I just reached that point where I was like, I'm happy for everyone to enjoy Starfield. I've heard the word Starfield so many times in the last 3 damn years that, as far as I'm concerned, it's an NFT, right? Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. It's very like it's a buzzword. It's a thing of like,
Sure.
I don't know what it is. And so now that I finally saw what it is, and I still feel nothing. So I'm happy for you guys. I'm happy for everyone. It's just.
Sure.
I'm probably not going to play it.
I'm kind of in the middle. I'm in the middle.
Yeah.
I saw a couple of red flags, the combat. I was like, huh.
That looks like a Fallout.
Yeah, like I didn't think it was going to play like this incredible like Call of Duty type thing or anything like that. But I was like, okay. And then the frame rate, I was like, oh boy, that's not even 30.
It was like a shitty 30.
Yeah.
It got very, very bad.
Yeah. But then it got me back with the shipbuilding where I'm like, I could see myself having fun with that.
Yeah.
I do get a little hooked on like the Fallout 4 crafting and stuff like that, and I'll even say like a little bit of the crafting in Fallout 76, which is like I know I'm
dare
not
you
allowed,
say that.
I know it's illegal, but those crafting loops can be
say
fun. I know.
You have a subscription to Fallout First, don't you?
No,
Admit it.
oh god,
Admit it. We'll end the podcast right now.
No, but. Yeah, I can see myself just like exploring space and doing goofy stuff to build a ship. That excites me.
Sure.
And then it seems like they are like, maybe doing a cool story thing, like the music, some of the presentation.
The music was so good.
I'm in for that.
I was so into that music.
Yeah.
Like obviously reminiscent of Star Trek.
Yeah, you're right.
Just
You're right.
the horns, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, like, I liked it. I mean, I think it is kind of a fence-setting position because, like, I think half the internet like, this fucking sucks. And then other people are like, it's everything I ever hoped. Yeah. It's kind of like, well, I never anticipated that Starfield was going to be this genre redefining video game. I never thought that. Like, Bethesda haven't made that kind of game for a long time. They've only ever made one type of game, except for like Fallout 76, and that anyway, that's a whole other story, right?
About that one.
Yeah. But like, so like, I was just expecting I was expecting Fallout or Skyrim in space, and this appears to be that. And you're right, the combat looks like it kind of sucks, but I never anticipated different. I never played a Bethesda game for the combat, so I'm fine with that. I mean, I like the locations and the whole setup with the factions and the lore
Faction
and
stuff seems tight.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That's what I play for. Give me tension between political factions where I need to make decisions about who do I double cross and whatever.
Yeah.
Give me a good sort of like 12 to 20 places I can explore.
Yeah, maybe 20 planets. Instead of 1,000.
Exactly. I don't need 1,000 planets.
No.
But yeah, like obviously you get out and the first thing you do is you laser some rocks. That's boring. You see some crabs crawl. Like the game still has crabs in it. You know what I mean? They crawl across your path.
Yeah.
And yeah, you still have your dead-eyed NPCs, and it looks like obviously less than 30 FPS.
It's not lock picking now. It's digi picking.
That's right.
That was
all
cool.
that stuff.
I like
cool.
that.
Yeah, that was
It
clean.
was the same as what they
Digi
had in the latest Star Wars Lego game, by the way. So,
Oh, is it?
Oh yeah. It's the droid unlocking.
It is.
Yeah, that's
the
right.
same. So,
Good.
I mean, look, I think this is fine. I'm looking forward to it. I will play it. But this is not in my kind of like top 20 list of games that I'm really pumped about.
Yeah.
Because there's so much other cool shit that I've seen. Plus, I firmly believe that it will be really broken at launch because every Bethesda game is.
Yeah.
You need to give it a good 18 months to 2 years to get it
That's a big
fixed.
reason why I have no feelings towards it.
Yeah. And
It
then
just- it
Hang
just
on
feels
for the
like-
mods.
It
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
feels
the
like an
mods.
abusive relationship that hasn't changed.
Yeah,
That's
so
just-
I think everyone's response to this is going to depend on the level of expectation. Like if you
Yeah.
expected Starfield to blow your socks off, well, yeah, no. But if you were just expecting a cool ass space game,
Skyrim in space.
Skyrim,
You got it.
in
build some
space.
outposts,
You got it.
All I want.
build a spaceship.
Yeah.
The ship combat as well looked a bit jank, but like, do you remember? Did you guys hear that leak a while back?
That apparently it's rough.
One former developer from like Bethesda's like, yeah, man, I played the build. The ship combat sucks. It's like, dude, you're gonna get sued. You know?
Damn, man.
So yeah, I don't know, but like it's there, and I'm looking forward to it. That's
Yeah.
the bottom line, without being like super hyped for it and not being super down on it either. So
Yeah.
So is there anything that we missed across these last few days that you want to shout out? Or maybe it was like outside the showcases, or something you heard, or anything else that popped up on your radar that you're excited about?
Just briefly, Skate Story. That's not technically
we totally
a new
forgot about
announcement.
the Devolver stuff.
Yeah, but just
God, we
like
suck.
a very cool, creative skateboarding type game that I am 100% on board
How
for.
incredible does that look?
Yeah, it does.
The first time I saw that on Twitter, I was like, what the fuck is this? I was
Yes.
just like completely bowled
Yes.
over. They got this cool music, the soundtrack to it. I've been listening to that song on repeat for like the last
Nice.
2 days.
That's great.
So just like, I love this shit. Oh, it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
And
I
that,
missed that
Oh,
showcase.
really?
Yeah.
oh, go back and watch
That's
it. Yeah.
my
Yeah.
tonight.
And Plucky Squire, remember that one?
Plucky Squire looks so good.
Yeah, I knew you'd like that one.
That's
That
a
looks like
Gerard-esque
good.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, you're playing it. The minute that the dude jumped off the
Yeah,
page,
yeah.
I was like, oh, like, it just was like that like
Yeah.
it went
Oh,
from
no.
4x3 to 16:9 in
Yeah.
real time.
It
Incredible.
was very, very good. So the Devolver stuff
Yes.
does not miss general. I didn't like their like bit this time as much. I felt it was a little bit strained. Usually they kind of thread the needle just right, but I was a bit like, maybe take it off, except for Suda51, who did a great job.
Yeah.
Suda Sons.
Yeah,
Such a
he's
good
I
boy.
didn't- oh,
So-
I love
Suda.
Suda.
He's lovely. He came in and he did like a whole video with us, and we were like, oh, and you worked with EA on Shadows of the Damned. He's like, I'd never work with EA.
That's great.
What a boss.
That's awesome,
What an
Man,
absolute
I've got a
boss.
story about that I can't share.
Oh.
Yeah, no, but yeah.
Oh man, cool. All right, well look, I think that's pretty much a wrap on not only Summer Games Fest, but also on the first episode of
Friends per
Friends
second.
Per Second podcast, which was, I had so much fun doing this.
Yes.
It was exactly what I was
Yeah.
hoping it would have been when we started
Yeah,
out.
there's
So
a
it
lot
was-
of game talk. It felt
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, we're like, we need a break for like a month.
Yeah.
But the plan is, though, we're going to do these every 2 weeks. So, as I said, they will be available on the Skill Up channel, but also across all podcast platforms. And we'll do all the social stuff as well. But let us know what you thought in the comments below. We'd love some feedback on this, because
Yeah.
we're going to
Yeah.
figure this out. We're probably
So
going to
work in
suck at
progress.
first.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we hopefully will
Yeah,
get
we're
better.
flowing, we're going.
Yeah,
we're
and then
grooving, we're
we'd
moving.
love to hear what you think.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for making
Yeah.
this happen. It's been
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
rad.
I'm so happy we got to do it in person.
Yeah,
I'm
Yeah, it's
so
good.
happy.
It's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it was
It's right.
awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
We need a thing to say at
Oh,
the end.
Like a
like a
sign-up.
young out kind of thing.
Yeah,
right. Come up with
ready?
something right
Yes,
now.
Ready? Okay, fine. Tie your shoes and go to bed. Easy.
Tie your
Done.
shoes, go to
Go
bed.
to-
Which actually doesn't make sense. Like,
Not at all.
No.
Who wears shoes
That's
to
fine.
bed?
That's fine.
That's
That's
fine.
it.
Dinner's here. Game on.
Enjoy your gaming.
Enjoy your game.
Enjoy
your
Who said that? Was that The Rock?
The
Yes.
Rock.
That was The
Yeah.
Rock. Enjoy your
Enjoy
game.
your gaming.